All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, humans and pets alike, welcome back to the North America Challenger Tournament Grand Finals. The one final day that will determine who wins it all, who take home the champion of North America going into the next season of NACT. Ladies and gentlemen, you will find out all today. And before we get started, it's your time to share the stream with your friends, with your family, get everybody here, because the most exciting day, the day you've been waiting for, is finally here. The match between the best of North America is about to dawn upon your head. What you waiting for? Share the excitement with your community and time to bring them in to cheer for your favorite team. Is it gonna be Team New Wave? Is it gonna be Team First Blood? While you're doing that, we have some giveaways. We have some giveaway codes thanks to the courtesy of our developers to give out to all of our viewers. Yes, use the code in screen right now and with the link in description to redeem for 100 diamonds. We're giving away 20,000 diamonds to the viewers who are watching right now. The first 200 viewers who are redeeming this code will be getting 100 diamond back home. Yeah, into your account. You can buy whatever you want with it. The new skin just came out, so what you waiting for? Use the code right now to claim your diamond. And ladies and gentlemen, the players are ready. Our casters are ready. Again, today, we got some sexy casters. The best of the best in the business, I would say. So without further ado, I'm gonna quickly introduce you guys to our incredible, amazing, talented, sexy, don't get turned on too much, caster's desk.
Man, that is a hard one to follow up, Dave. Definitely. Welcome everybody. I mean, we are here. We have finally made it to the North American Challengers Tournament Grand Finals. You know, I love to keep it goofy. I love to have some fun on here, but we got to keep it serious. And before we get any farther, Naisu has joined us once again for the finals of the NACT. This is going to be my second time casting with you, Naisu, and it is a pleasure to have you here. And good morning to you. How you doing, man?
Good morning, man. And good morning, NA and all the viewers out there. Dave, once again, what an intro. And it's about 6:30 in the morning here in the Philippines, but as the last season, man, I'm so happy to be here. And I've been keeping my eye on this whole tournament. It's been about a month, right? Almost a month here. And all I can say is from last season to this season, holy moly, the improvement, the excitement, and I can't wait to cast this Grand Finals with you again.
Yeah, it should. I mean, as we were talking about before we got on, you know, this whole tournament's just been flipped. The table of North America has been flipped. A lot of new teams coming in, a lot of hard-hitting new teams coming in. I mean, New Wave, not completely unexpected. We've seen them hit top 4 2 NACTs ago. We saw them make it to the finals and take the whole thing before when they were under the alias TSU. But Team First Blood are definitely hungry for blood. I like to call them the rookies of the year right now, and they have made it. So it's going to be quite a game, Naisu.
Yeah, you know, and watching Team First Blood kind of rise through that lower bracket, get to this point, it's always exciting when you have those lower bracket stories, right? And now, you know, they're going against New Wave. And if you look at the stats for both teams, they're pretty impressive, right? I mean, across the board, I feel like this should be a series that goes the distance, because if you look at especially the gold laners, for instance, right? Jappa and Gina God Mode, just watching their gameplays alone, I gotta say, it always comes down to the gold lanes, honestly. And with those two specifically, those two players, I can't wait to see what they pull out for the Grand Finals. Who knows if something surprising or unique comes out. Now, I know, you know, the meta's established at this point, right? You guys here in NACT have had a little bit of flavor compared to what we're seeing, you know, in Asia, just a tad. And I hope things turn out that way here for the Grand Final, especially.
Yeah, and back to what you were saying about the gold laners. Actually, we're going to get to that in a second, because we do actually have some predictions from some local NA content creators on who they think is going to take this. So before we go any farther, Boca Roscoe coming in and tell us what he thinks is going to happen in these grand finals.
Hey everyone, Boca Roscoe here. This video is dedicated to Team First Blood. Congratulations on your amazing journey throughout the NACT. Wish you all the best today, and I hope to see this lineup in future events.
I couldn't have said it better myself. I don't want to say exactly who I think is going to take this just yet. We may be in for a video possibly later, but I think he makes a good point. Like, I think this is honestly one of the first tournaments we've ever had where it is up in the air. So many people are supporting New Wave. So many people are supporting Team First Blood. It feels like a 50-50 to me. It was hard for me to make any prediction at all. Now, you were talking about gold laners, Jappa and Gina Godmode. Pretty similar hero pool, both of them. Deadly on the Beatrix, both of them deadly. But I gotta say, Jappa sitting at 96 kills throughout the whole tournament, has been dominating most kills since this tournament has started. So we know Jappa's a problem for a lot of teams. When they went up against Team First Blood in the top side of the bracket, I was watching, I'm thinking, you gotta focus on Jappa. You gotta make sure you put a kill or two on him in the early game, slow him down as much as possible, because he can be a serious problem.
Yeah, I think, again, a lot of this always falls down to the gold lanes, right? And if you want to say anything about New Wave, they really enable Jappa, and that's why he's at the top there for the kills, and his stats are just insane. So yeah, first step would be handle that draft towards Jappa, but then again, like you said, contest the Beatrix, because that's what we see a lot of. And at the same time, if you focus on the draft and then you get into the game later on, focus on that lane, punish the gold lane if you can, focus there, right? Don't let Jappa get to the point where he needs to be in order for them to win that game.
Well, speaking of drafts, we are not wasting any time. We're going to jump in to the first draft of tonight. This is, if you're just coming in, New Wave up against Team First Blood for the grand finals of the North American Challengers Tournament. The New Wave will have first ban, first pick. Let's see what we're looking like.
Well, already, right, we've got that first ban coming out here, the Esmeralda. So here's the thing, right? We know Esmeralda, one of the highly contested heroes as well. I think you have to really decide, do we target ban here the specific players, or do we just take out the meta choices, right? And that's what we're seeing. Red side, Team First Blood typically has that assignment to take out the Valentina, which is funny because Valentina still has such a high ban rate. And honestly, when she has slipped through the cracks, her performance as a whole hasn't been what it was before, right?
True, it's definitely true. She's only sitting at like a 73% win rate, and we're talking like a 99% ban rate almost. Like, yeah. And I've been thinking that, I'm like, I think at some point we just have to kind of let her in. She's not. I think she's something to be feared, of course, but unless like a player is just destroying you, it may be worth the risk. And come game 2, game 3, it may be worth the risk to let that through and ban out Jappa or ban out some choices for Ziggy on his mage, things of that nature.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like, when you're talking about a grand final, you have a best of 5. Usually game 1 is the time you get to kind of, maybe you get a little leeway in your picks and your bans. You can kind of test things out. And at the end of the day, if you want to just continue to pick those safe picks for your team, or even experiment a little bit, it's the best time to do it in game 1, right? But already we see that Faramis coming out too, man. And I gotta say, Faramis is straight up, he's very strong. We'll just keep it at that, right?
Yeah,
he's
and
very
not only
strong.
that, like Tamal on the Faramis, like a lot of teams weren't banning it early on. New Wave started using it. It's one of the things that they beat Area 77 with. Area 77 was late to it, didn't start banning it until game 2, game 3, and now since then, every team, anytime they're going up against New Wave, we're banning out the Faramis. We have not gotten to see it into play yet, and I got a feeling that is something we are not going to see on the field at all tonight. We are seeing some target bans coming from New Wave. The Cho, a good ban, but definitely a target towards Joybaj. The Claude, it seems a bit more methodical, I feel like, on the side of New Wave. They're leaving a lot of options still open for them on this first pick. The Julian, also a solid ban. And yes, these are meta picks, but these are picks that both teams, when they have slipped through, have shined very well with these choices.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, right? You go with the meta, but also the targeted bans here that we're seeing. And still, from the banning phase alone, this first phase, it's very interesting already, because this is not typically something that we see. I mean, there's a couple bans here like the Julian, right, that we see because of that flexibility. But for instance, Thamus not even being picked up right away. Okay, there he is, right? They do pick him up. But I was going to say, they prioritize the Masha instead of the Thamus. That's something very interesting here because, again, the meta has shifted a little bit here. Thamus is just The guy is so strong,
Yes.
whether you put him in the jungle, whether you put him in the side lane. He can go pretty much Chad mode, 1 versus 3 with the vengeance. It's just, it's kind of ridiculous at this point. And then they round it out. They complement it with the Ballman, right? Which is just a very safe, comfortable pick in that jungle.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, no, I don't think there's any better words to put it. Comfortable, not super high mechanical, simple for anybody. And then, he does his job, right? Even if he's not getting the kills he needs to, even if he doesn't like get that snowball effect in the early game, he's still able to have that lethal counter to the end game and help secure objectives and just be a nice, steady front liner. So at this point, they have the Thamus, they have the Ballman. Now we just want to see some backline damage possibly on the side of New Wave. You mentioned them giving up the Thamus and picking up the Masha. I'm wondering if Tamal's going to stay on this Masha. Is it going to be that harassment tank Masha to go into the enemy jungle, or are they going to end up flexing it over to the XP lane here?
Honestly, I have to say, I think it could work better in the XP lane. Now, that's the thing, right? We don't know exactly 100% where the Dairoth is going, because sometimes he goes in the jungle, right? Sometimes Dairoth can jungle, even though he has this retribution here, but at the same time, they could still decide, to put him in the side lane, depending what's going out here, because again, they did ban out the Esmeralda first, where usually the Dairoth is picked into Esmeralda for the counter, right? But that's not that's not going to happen here. So they do have a lot to play around with. And as we get to the second phase of these bans, right, we can see them. Team First Blood wants to focus on those gold lanes. Like I said, you want to shut down Jappa, and they take out the Irithyll. They've already got a super strong pick themselves, right? They're rolling with the Wanwan, who is probably one of the best. I would put Wanwan 1 or 2, maybe 2 or 3 actually, because Beatrix is, off the top of my head, Beatrix would be, that number 1. There, it's going to be banned.
There it goes.
Great banning here from Team First Blood. Again, focus on that gold lane. They've already locked in the 1-1. This doesn't leave a lot of options. Maybe a carry for Jappa.
That's about it. I like the fact that they banned the Irithyll. Irithyll's been for a lot of teams, it's been the counter to the Wanwan, right? And they covered their bases here. Not only that, the Claude is open. Jappa has done very well on the Claude. Very well. So I think that's definitely a possibility. And that's the thing about New Wave. Their hero pool runs pretty deep, right? So, and that's one of the advantages I give them over Team First Blood here. I feel like they have a little bit of a deeper hero pool, a little bit more versatility, more willing to bring out some picks that maybe everyone doesn't see all the time. Not completely super spicy picks, kind of mid-meta picks that they make it work. So I don't think it's going to be hard to touch Jappa. It's going to be hard to touch Tamal or Ziggy and really try to get them out of their comfort zone here. Prophecy securing in this Lilia, and it looks like Dogtor maybe bringing in this Uranus. I think he can, in the early game, may have a little bit of trouble against the Thamus, but overall may be able to be something in that front line for the side of New Wave.
Yeah, I want to see if he locks us in here, because then that does tell us, Dairoth is going to be going in the jungle here. He's just hovering over 2. But going back to this lock-in for the Lilia, again, a very strong pick all across the board already for Team First Blood. If you just look at the face value of each hero here, there is so much potential for each of them in terms of, it's not super high skill cap, right? And you can also just get tons of damage off of that Lilia. So, okay. Right? New Wave locks in the Uranus and the Popol and Koopa. That tells us Dairoth is going to be going into the jungle here, right? And interesting pick. So how has Jappa been with the Popol and Koopa?
No, this is something that we haven't seen a lot of, right? This is, I'm not putting it past him. We just haven't seen a lot of it this time. Claude has been, I think he's played it 3 or 4 times. The Beatrix has been a major pick for him. Next on the list, maybe Brody, and then, like I said, the Claude or the Clint, right? So yeah, the Popol and Koopa, something new, something spicy, and I'm not completely against it. They were kind of lacking CC on the side of New Wave, so this should help them a little bit. Along with the Masha, maybe some abilities to single some people out, jump on to that back line. Tamal tries to get the engage onto the Wanwan. She gets away, but then there's Jappa to possibly lock them down. So I see the possibilities. The only thing I'm seeing lacking on the side of New Wave is that group CC. They don't have anything to really catch them off guard. but on the side of Team First Blood, there's nothing major either. They didn't bring in any like Atlas tank, you know, nothing like that. No Kufra to get any Tyrant's Rage, you know, nothing insane that everyone needs to worry about, right?
Well, and I think the biggest thing here, again, if you're focusing on Jappa here, there's an Akai, so you got to watch out for the Akai on the other side.
5 seconds.
Well, we are jumping in though. Before we go any farther, this will be the first game of the night. New Wave up against Team First Blood, and it's definitely going to be a good one. Definitely excited for this. We are seeing Luffy. He is going to the XP lane. We are going to see Indo pick up this Dairoth into the jungle, and that is something he's been really hot on. It's been a very popular pick for him. When he picked it, yes, it could be flexible, but it's been like Indo's go-to overall, and he has performed very, very well on it. Nice.
Yeah, the thing that I'm wondering too, you know, Indo rolling this killing spree, you know, how's that going to match up, right, versus Kid? But you can see already the focus actually going to be on the XP lane here. Dogtor should be fine, right, Uranus? But that's the thing. When you have, again, early game, you always want to kind of focus on this jungle matchup, that pace setting for the entire game. You know, Indo versus Kid. You've got the Killing Spree emblem versus the Demon Slayer jungle emblem, right? And typically, even paired with a Ballman, you already know there's going to be huge contests going on for those early objectives, right? And that's the thing. One big thing about Dairoth is, even though he might not be your typical jungle pick, I would say right now, he still provides a huge amount of damage output, especially around those really constricted areas, right? Those objectives later on, they're always going to have to be worried about. Team First Blood can't kind of just let that happen, you know, in those team fights. That's why I think they picked up that Akai too, to really just allow those lockdowns to happen with a heavy spin, the zoning potential too that's provided there, and the lockdowns, hopefully to find Jappa.
Yeah, I mean, if they can find Jappa, I think if Jappa, if Indo, you know, also Indo, if any of them get slowed down, I'm looking at the side of New Wave, and I'm thinking, you got Ziggy, who's going to be some nice burst damage in the end game. The Popo and Koopa, great tower push, but the damage doesn't really come in until a bit later. Same thing with Tamal. I like the way he's harassing right now. Does go down. First blood coming from Gina God mode there. That's not what you want to see on the side of New Wave right now. I think they need to kind of stall this, get it into the late game to where some of these damage dealers and the tanks, they have to do something.
Yeah, but they crashed down already, right? Again, Ziggy now going to get caught out here. There's the heavy spin right into the wall, and an early kill. A lot of action here already. 2 minutes, 30 seconds into the game. But like I said, you just saw them trade a couple kills, right? But Team First Blood able to grab that first turtle, which is expected. Like I said, Kid is going to be all over those objectives, and it's going to kind of be up to New Wave. Like, do we decide, you know what? We don't want the turtles. Just give them up. Get time for Jappa to farm up. The great thing is he's running the Weapon Master, right? And he also has that early kill here. And he's most likely going to be going that BOG rush item, right? So he will be pumping out a ton of damage later on in the game. And even to just siege this first turret, I mean, that's the whole goal of having this pick anyway, the Popo and Koopa, right? So this is something, once again, Team First Blood has to continuously keep in mind. We can't let Jappa farm up. We can't let him have a good time, because we've seen the stats. Everybody knows the stats from this tournament. Jappa is pretty much a beast when he gets to that moment on his gold lane picks, even like this, right? A Popo and Koopa, who typically we don't see. But he's already off to a great start here, 3 minutes, 30 seconds into the game.
Yeah, and I love the way that Team First Blood, though, is responding well to this, right? Like, they're hovering down in the gold lane. They're not scared to spend time down here, because this is a way that New Wave has been playing heavily. Sometimes they sacrifice that first or second turtle to push into that gold lane, like we're seeing possibly right now is going to come in nicely.
Ziggy looking to get a cut off here, and the rest of the squad. Gina Godmo taking quite a bit of damage. Using the safety of this turret, Joy Abad trying to help out. There's going to be the heavy spin. There you go. They find the kill here. Jappa with another one. The lockdown once again. Tamal trying to focus on Joy Abad, but he's going to take quite a bit of damage himself. Has to back off. Prophecy there to help out. Pops the black shoes. There just for the safety. So they lose one. Not too bad. But again, it's Gina God mode that goes down here, right? And meanwhile, the top lane, finding him with the Abysm Strike. They take down Luffy.
Yeah, that is a double strike, both sides, able to make a play on both opposite sides of the map. Luckily, Kid does get something there, able to take a turtle, keep his team in the game, and even with those 2 deaths that just happened, right? Team First Blood keeping up with the gold count, and that definitely has to do with this jungle emblem on Kid, able to rotate around. But New Wave, I think, feels comfortable with it. They're okay with Indo kind of playing it slow throughout the map. He has gotten in this Counter-Strike. Going to give him a little bit of mobility in some of these team fights. Going to be able to get a little bit of penetration to this tanky front line of the side of Team First Blood, but New Wave does not want to stop right now.
Kamal doing exactly what he needs to do on this Masha here. And you can see, right? Both teams focusing on this gold lane. They know their assignments, and they're going to back off here for now. But already, like you mentioned, Trex, you know, those items here, big key pickups already, right? Like I said, you saw Japa already pick up that BOD early on. He's going to be building into a little bit more damage and defense because he knows at one point, right, the 1-1's just going to go insane. But now Kamal going to be the focus here. Joy Bodge finding the lockdown on Indo with the heavy spin. That's going to be most likely a kill with the lethal counter. Kid grabbing one for himself now. Nice setup there. Finally grabbing Indo, forcing the brilliance here in the mid lane too. And this is just, I mean, Team First Blood looked like they just wanted to pop the switch here. Tamal is going to take the execute.
Good play, but Team First Blood now, after, like, they get, possibly something. The crossbow tang does go off. Japa does get taken down. A nice pick from the side of Team First Blood there. And now, once Team First Blood gets a little bit of a push here, I've got a feeling they're just going to keep on being aggressive. You know, they have that Akai. We didn't talk a whole lot about it, but it is going to always open up space in these team fights. You mentioned the pins, and we just saw one happen onto Indo right there. It could be rough in this stage of the game for New Wave here. I think maybe their goal isn't to take big 5v5s, keep it split up, try to play into these off lanes, and make plays across the map instead of taking them on 5v5 like this here.
Our door going to get locked down. Like you just mentioned, Trex, right? The heavy spin. As soon as I saw this last pick come out in the draft, I was like, that is a solid choice for Joy Bodge because, I mean, typically we see Akai actually being played in the jungle, but you know, already with that Ballman coming up, we knew where it was going. And this is a solid choice because the lockdowns against a team that isn't super mobile, right, for New Wave, I mean, you don't have much options to play around the heavy spin. So Joy Bodge, as we're seeing, is just kind of having a heyday, right? He's just like, all right, this is the lockdown, here's the heavy spin. Let's get a kill. And that's kind of what's happening now. Indo can be the lockdown here now. Pops the Abysm Strike, but it's just way too much damage. Crossbow of Tang being popped to Maul. He should be able to survive here, but Kid looking for the kill, can't get it. Gets stunned. Luffy now there too. Brilliant's gonna be popped, goes in under the turret. Joy Bodge once again with a heavy spin, finds a lockdown, grabbing a kill. That's 2 that fall for New Wave. Luffy under both turrets, pops the Vengeance, should be fine. It's a 2-for-1.
And, you know, the side of Team First Blood, those the first two picks, right? The Thamus and the Ballman just laid the groundwork for the team, right? And we're seeing it happen now. Nakai just to seal the deal. They come in, and then you just have Gina God Mode and Prophecy laying down damage from the backline. They have nothing to do, no way to deal with Gina right now. Normally, at 6 minutes, we don't see this many crossbow tangs, I feel like. I mean, Gina God Mode is just hitting those weakness points and making them count. Japa, who's off to a great start, now at 2 deaths. And that gold lead is becoming more and more for Team First Blood. They've taken away 3 towers on the map already. And we're only at 8 minutes in. New Wave may just hit a little bit of a mid-game rubber band, possibly. Dogcore maybe gets something, but right as I'm talking about him, he gets in. Prophecy picks up the kill nicely.
Yeah, there's not much you can do, right? This is the pretty much what is going to happen continuously. Joy Bodge just freely finding the heavy spin. And the other thing I want to point out too here is, like I said in the beginning of the game, look at the difference in levels in jungles, right? And that's the thing, the gap that's going to happen with a Killing Spree versus a Demon Slayer emblem. But now the crash down to the bottom lane. Joy Bodge looking again, doesn't have the heavy spin just yet, so Tamal's going to tank quite a bit of this damage as Gina God Mode is looking for it and grabs another kill for himself. Tamal falling here, and now a Lord. Easy for the taking for Team First Blood.
And looking at the side of Team First Blood, looking at these items, Thamus has that has the Corrosion Scythe in, but looking who we really need to look at, the Corrosion Scythe on Gina God Mode right now, along with the DHS, is what's really just singling. I mean, Tamal, 3 whole health bars, right? Just got melted down, completely annihilated in the gold lead on all of them. I mean, Kid, the jungle emblem you mentioned, definitely making a huge difference. 6,700 gold. Even the tank, even the roamer is outperforming Indo practically right now in gold. He's 100 behind, but he is almost caught up with the jungler on the side of New Wave.
Joy Botch once again going under the turret. Going to take quite a bit of hits from the turret himself. He finally falls here, but look at the damage already forcing New Wave back here into their base to heal up. As they finally get that tier 2 turret, they're going to be working on the first inhibitor here into the base of New Wave. They got to go on full defense mode here, but right now, like I said, look at the damage output just coming out from Team First Blood. They got to handle the Lord in the top lane. Team First Blood happy with that. Look at the gold lead, as you mentioned, Trex. It's already it's already off to pretty much a hard start here for New Wave, because at this point it's only 10 minutes into the game, right? This is still, it's not that long. And look at the graph already too, gold wise, right? You can see it right there. They're very far ahead. New Wave, if you look once again at their team composition here, it's going to struggle against what is already happening for Team First Blood, especially itemization-wise, right? For New Wave to get back into this game, they've got to have some amazing defense and then enable them to actually get items themselves. But now, look at this. Like I said, Luffy going 3 versus 1, starting the fight here, going to force them back. The heavy spin does come out, but there you go. Dogtor going to try to just escape here. He should be able to, unless he's going to get slowed, and once again gets the knock-up. Dogtor versus the world as he finally gets taken out. Mega kill going over to Kid.
Man, I think, if Dogtor can get to the point where he can escape those things, a couple more items, maybe 1 or 2 more items, then there may be that hope for New Wave, right? But right now, Team First Blood is just laying it down. You talked about 10 minutes. This is supposed to be the mid game, right? Like, this is supposed to, we shouldn't be losing inhibitors already, but Team First Blood is coming in strong on the first game of the night. Definitely a couple things. New Wave, I mean, I've seen them win out games. I've seen them stall, be patient, wait for the end game very, very patiently, and end up coming back on teams throughout this tournament. It's not something completely unheard of. But Team First Blood also has late game insurance, right? They have Gina God Mode, who has already showed prowess in the early and mid game, let alone the late. So New Wave definitely needs to do something. Lord will be up in 10 seconds, and New Wave looks like they may want to try to contest this.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to, right? I mean, I still feel like they're going to have a very tough time if they go full-on fight here. They've got to look for somewhat of a pick. But who do you even pick off here for Team First Blood, right? It's a tough situation to be in, and right now you can see Team First Blood just going to go ahead and take this Lord here. Joybot popping the conceal play, looking for some setup, not going to be able to get it. Also, Prophecy picks up a Divine Glaive. This was my point. Who do you even focus on for Team First Blood, right? Even if you focus on Prophecy, he's just going to pop the black shoes. Joybot is just going to heavy spin, protect anybody he needs to. Your best target over there is Gina God Mode. But how do you get to Gina God Mode? That is the biggest question here for New Wave, because you got 3 beefy meatballs in front of you, and that is a huge just obstacle in front of them. And now Lord going to be marching into the base here. It's going to crack open the base of New Wave as they have to defend their minds out if they want to stay in this game. It's only 13 minutes. They lose another turret here. Still going to be working on the Lord. Team First Blood looking for the right moment. The setup here, they're going to be very patient. Gina God Mode looking for the setup there. There's the Black Shoes, resets the stack. That's going to be Kid with the Unstoppable. Takes quite a bit of damage himself. Joybot does fall. 3 fall for New Wave. And that's going to be it. The crossbow of Tang comes out. Killing spree and game number 1.
Wow. One thing I didn't expect, I think we're going to go the distance, but I did not expect game 1, 12 minutes, 12 or 13 minutes. I mean, either way, a quick and decisive win from Team First Blood for game 1. Now, to break this down a little bit, you mentioned the 3 heavy meatballs on the side of Team First Blood. And the thing is New Wave kind of went for a similar, divey comp, right? They picked up the Dyroth, they picked up Tamal on this Masha, and Dogtor, like a bunch of people who want to just jump at you, physical attackers, not a whole lot of range. Even their mage is more up and close and personal. And the thing they forgot about, the thing that you need to worry about if you're going to have a comp like that, is the Akai, right? Joybaj was just the thorn in their heel. Anytime anyone tried to come in, out comes the heavy spin and just turns the team fight into the hands of Team First Blood. Indo, not the greatest performance. Same with Tamal. I mean, Tamal is the tank, but definitely we need to maybe approach this in a different route in the next draft here, Naisu.
Yeah, I think, again, look at the assists on Joybaj, right? He was literally everywhere. And that's the thing. Even if you could work around the heavy spin, you still had to get through Luffy. You still had to get through Kid, right? And even Prophecy. Like, Prophecy never died because he had the black shoes. So even if you got to Prophecy, you most likely couldn't kill him. And Gina Godmode was having such a good time because of just that front line. The front line there to protect Gina Godmode just allowed for that situation, right? And they did get the kill a couple times on Gina Godmode, but still, I mean, this is not what I was expecting too for game number 1. But I will say this: when you look at that draft from, head to head there, it was a very non-mobile composition versus a pretty mobile composition, right? And that's the thing. It just kind of crashed and fell apart from them. And again, it started in the draft, right? Because those targeted gold lane bans are really what forced maybe a not so comfortable pick for Japa, and things just kind of fell apart from there.
Yeah, it was, we were both surprised by the Popo pick, right? It's something he hasn't brought out a lot. I'm surprised he didn't fall into the Claude or something. Into the Clint. The Claude was banned out. But still, it's game 1, right? New Wave is known to bring some comebacks. I don't think Team First Blood just sweeps through this. But what I can say is, I think a lot of people expected New Wave to take game 1. I think a lot of people expected Team First Blood to be kind of playing on the backside, not just completely dominating in such a textbook fashion. Definitely from draft to gameplay to the finish, even the patience of that final Lord push, didn't just completely dive in, let the Lord do a little bit of work, waited for the moment. Gina Godmode finally getting the crossbow of Tang off in those final moments to just clear the field and seal the deal. Definitely some nice plays. So let's see, as we jump in to the second game, this will be the second draft of a best of 5. Team First Blood will be up first with first pick.
Team First Blood actually grabbing the first blood, right? So they're off to a good start here, and now they are going to be taking the blue side, right? So they still want to ban out this Valentina. And again, I just feel like you can go with a similar game plan for game 2. You can continue to do that if you're Team First Blood. Just focus on shutting down Japa, right? And everything else can fall into place. Now, New Wave, again, you already mentioned this, Trex, but I feel like Indo, maybe don't take the Dairoth in the jungle there, and maybe if you really want to, maybe lean towards a jungler and roll with the jungle emblem for at least game 2, right? So that you can have a better control and contest those objectives, because man, you look back at game 1, they couldn't do any of that at all, right? Because that's typically what we see, right? We see a jungler not take the jungle emblem and a jungler take one. And I'm not saying that jungle emblem is, reigning supreme nowadays, because it has changed. But I mean, it's still strong, right? It's still good. But my point is, like, usually in the matchup where one jungler takes it, one jungler doesn't, and you already know which heroes are going to be taking the jungle emblem. It's like, you get gapped pretty hard, and we saw it there with the level gaps. And then how are you as a jungler supposed to do your job when you're 3-4 levels behind, right? And it's tough, especially versus even a Ballman. A Ballman is just going to spin to win until he lethal counters you.
Now, I can say that New Wave up against Team Sexy, right? He picked up the Ballman, took it away from best player. So I think the problem there was like the Prio and the Masha, right? Like the Thamus is open, the Akai is open. A lot of things are open, a lot of possibilities are open, and we brought in this Masha. And I think some of the priorities maybe have been a little wrong. Maybe didn't expect Team First Blood to jump on that gun so soon and just be so prepared. But I think they need to know that this is a finals game. This is serious. Team First Blood, yes, you may have put down on them in past tournaments, but right now they are one of the strongest teams in all of North America, so New Wave needs to come to play. Team First Blood taking their time right now with this first pick, and I love the patience. Even after winning that first game, normally teams are like, all right, we're just going to kind of keep it similar, and there it is. They pick up the Thamus.
Yeah, this is what I expect, right? This is typically when Thamus is left open. You want to see the team grab him, because most likely you're going to go ahead and trade. Beatrix is still open, so most likely New Wave wants to take this Beatrix, because you're trading the Thamus for that Beatrix and maybe one other solid choice here, right? If they want a little more control over the objectives, maybe they take the Eve, right? Maybe they secure the Eve plus the Beatrix. I mean, there's a lot. That's the thing right now, Trex. There's so many good options in terms of what you want to lock in, right? Do you lock in your gold laner as priority? Do you lock in, that mid priority? Because, okay, They're not doing it either. They're going to go ahead and
All
New
right.
Wave is going to lock in that Ballman and the Dairon.
Definitely switching up. They keep the Dairoth, right? Like, and I'm still right now. Thamu's just so supreme from jungle to lane. In his lane, I don't really feel like there's much. If you know what you're doing in the XP lane, there's not a whole lot that gets on top of him. The Esmeralda, I feel like towards the mid game after that level 4, level 5, level 6, she can handle him, right? But not many others. He can always poke. He can always stalemate the lane. I do like the Ballman pickup. That was a problem last game, but by doing that, you forfeited up what you mentioned, some gold lane priority. The Beatrix is now going into the hands of Gina God mode.
Time to go to the RT show.
This is so yeah. I have question marks above my head right now, man. Like because I get it, right? Bowman, very safe, good jungler pick here, and this is quick, right? They go ahead and just lock in their roam as well. They're gonna take the Atlas. So, but still, I still gotta say, giving up a Beatrix, giving up a Thamus, and a lot of the times that combination alone just does a very, very well in terms of their winning capabilities, their winning chances here, right? And then you get this Lilia too, who has a very good record across all regions. Lilia's performance in the mid lane is just phenomenal. So again, I think the tools here for New Wave they're okay, but still it really depends on what they decide to lock in for those final picks here, especially mid lane, gold lane, because we can expect Team First Blood, those next bans could be targeted to the gold lane, right? To once again force Joppa into something not comfortable if they want to, right? The 1-1's already taken out. The New Wave banned the Claude, and there you go. Team First Blood takes out the Irithyll here, and they have the Beatrix. So, you're going to force Joppa on something probably not as comfortable, right? And you have the starting toolkit once again for Team First Blood to start off really strong here. Now, the big question is, what does Team First Blood take for the jungle? Because they are going to be matching up once again versus this Ballman jungle, right? Who's going to be rolling with that jungle emblem. So that's what I'm really wondering here. What do they go for?
I really want to see the Akai ban come in there because that could be an option, right? For Team First Blood, the Akai jungle. And I think it would do well against the Ballman. I think it would do well against the Dairoth once again. I think it would do well against, once again, New Wave's Divey comp. Instead, they decide to ban out the Karina, which the Karina jungle, yes, solid. But so far, I think that could be a worry. And if Team First Blood wants to, they can move this Thamus into the jungle. There's opportunities for them, right? So again, New Wave I'm iffy about putting so much presence on that Dairoth this time. You were talking about the importance of this gold lane, the importance of this mage, and I just feel like it's a little too rushed right now. Clint now getting banned off. So it looks like Joppa may be forced into that Popo and Koopa again, maybe a Brody or something. Those are about the only two real options I'm seeing left. Not a lot of things open. Ziggy picking up the Eve. I like the Eve, right? Eve. You mentioned it earlier. There are plenty of choices for the mages, right? That is something, if they're not getting banned out, there's a lot of options. The Eve and the Atlas should work well together. I just think if this Akai gets picked up, it could cause major problems for New Wave once again.
Yeah, I think, like I said, these last two picks for New Wave are going to be crucial, right? But Eve is the best start. Like, that is probably the best decision they have, rolling with the Atlas. But here you go, right? With them, okay, I was going to say they're showing, but they lock it in. And if they round this out with Phoveus, it's even scarier because once again, we fall to the same thing. You got 3 meatballs, you got 3 beefy boys to deal with. And unfortunately, New Wave wants to force fights around that real world manipulation, right? That's what they want to do. They want to get that combination off with whether it's going to be the Fatal Links followed by that real world manipulation or vice versa, right? You really want to force them to fight, but Team First Blood doesn't have to, right? They could literally just disengage if they want to. And especially having the Akai, once again, whether that's to lock people down or peel for your teammates, it's difficult to work around what New Wave was throwing at them, right? So let's see. I mean, they're showing the Nathan here, and we're going to find out in just a couple seconds what New Wave wants to go, and it is going to be this Nathan here. And not typically what we see in the gold lane treks.
Not at all. Now what I can, to be the devil's advocate here, Nathan does have that dash in, right? So maybe some possibilities to get past that beefy line and just suicide into Gina God mode, right? And just suicide into Prophecy and try to get as much as you can into that back line. Because right now, once again, the problem is those 3 beefy boys in the front. And I don't think the real manipulation is going to be enough. I don't think they have enough to get past that heavy spin. And if you do dash past it, you now have a Phoveus ready with a demonic force to pounce on top of you. So once again, in my eyes, it feels like Team First Blood is kind of winning out in this draft. And I'm a little worried. We're going into game 2. Game 2 of Team First Blood up against New Wave. Team First Blood winning 1. To those that don't know, this is a best of 5. Team First Blood does have the upper hand, and New Wave needs to do something here if they want to keep the playing field even.
I like this, right? So it's actually Kid on this jungle Themis, like we were, talking about. He could flex into, but still, it's the matchups here with the jungle emblems, right? And so now the pace is going to be a little more even, I would say, and Indo should be able to contest those early objectives better. Now that's really where they could shine here, Trex, is if they can contest those early, the early turtles, especially. Jappa actually quite a bit of damage on this gold Nathan here, but already look at the focus here.
Oh, yeah, that could be bad. Joy Boys is coming in. Jappa brought a little bit low, but they decide to back off. You don't want to take that tower shot. And there's the patience once again from Team First Blood. You probably could have got that kill, but you would have gone down for it as well. And you didn't want to take that risk.
Yeah, so, I mean, again, right, going back to the whole game plan here for New Wave is really you want to go ahead and contest those early objectives, because you can't give them away like they did previously, right, in the previous game here, because Team First Blood, they know how to punish that. And once again, we have talked about this in the draft, and up to this point, the 3 beefy boys, how do you get past them? The other thing, too, is now that Luffy is on this Phoveus, we've seen the potential of demonic forces throughout this tournament alone, and even other tournaments. Phoveus is a very high priority pick for a lot of these teams just because of the demonic force alone, right? And that tankiness, trying to zone people out, too. And already, focus here in the mid lane.
Yeah, a little bit of focus onto Indo right now. Tries to use that lethal counter to get away. Dogtor comes in with the saving grace, able to take out Kid. Prophecy may just be next on the line. Flicker comes in, and Prophecy is off. Demonic Force trying to salvage something, maybe get a pick onto Ziggy, but quite can't finish it. Gets frozen up from Tamal and stopped in his tracks. Here comes Jappa rotating all the way from the top, able to take out Luffy. That will be it. Tamal now on the run along with Ziggy. But that is a nice 3-for-1 trade overall on the map. Nice.
Yeah, that's huge. And now, actually, Team First Blood actually going to go and give a go on this turtle. Indo going to just take it out from under their noses. The power of the retribution and lethal counter. That's what we can expect from Ballman, right? When that's locked in there, that's what you want to see. But going back to that team fight before that, again, it was just bad timing, right? Prophecy didn't have the black shoes available. I mean, look at the instant replay here. We saw them, and this is already, Kid and Prophecy were down here at this point, but we saw New Wave. They fought this very well, and Ziggy didn't even have the real world manipulation, right? And here's the thing, though. Dogtor has 2 kills. He got those 2 early kills. He just went down, so he just died. But basically what I was going to say is Dogtor having those 2 early kills on this Dairoth is usually troublesome for whoever the lane matchup is, because he's one of the best scaling, especially early game heroes out there with that damage output in the XP lane. And that's why we see him picked up so many times even before, right, to counter Esmeralda, because usually even at level 2, he's already outputting a ton of damage. So this could play into their hands here, but now the focus on the top lane.
Oh, nice snipe shot onto Jappa there. Now, I think Gina Godbone needs to have this sniper out, right? Because from what we saw earlier, Jappa, with that S1, with that skill 1, definitely able to outrange Gina God mode on this Beatrix. So it's going to be a game of who can land these skill shots, who can bring the other player down, and also who's going to have more focus onto that gold lane. New Wave this time around has been putting hard into Gina here, and Jappa has picked up a kill. Natan has gotten some recent buffs recently. Tamal with the fatal links does catch 2 of them. Jappa now coming in, trying to make a play. Tamal able to flicker away, and they disengage. New Wave playing it safe, not being too aggressive, but hold my word, possible play. The nice stun, the freeze, Joy Boy able to dash away. Prophecy playing the distance. But in the top, Gina God mode, able to take down Jappa finally. Real manipulation does come out. Gina flickers away without a problem. She's going to go back to base safely.
Oh, they're not done yet.
They're not done. Dogtor also taken out. Kid able to get that kill. A nice pick. They are back and forth brawling it out. Turtle falling into the hands of Indo. It's 4-4 on the board, but New Wave holding the gold lead.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, a lot of cross-map plays here, right? We can already see Indo trying to just assert his dominance here. He's just going to spin to win and get out. But, I mean, looking at the items, right? We can already see key items being picked up all across the board because, yeah, it's still pretty even in the gold, right? A little bit of a lead for New Wave here, but not too much. And, again, right, some of those, what they're waiting for here for Gina God mode doesn't have the BOD just yet. But you can see continuously the focus here in the gold lane.
And they are coming up. A nice heavy spin, trying to lock on to Tamal. He does get stopped, but it's too late into that ultimate. The Fatal Links come in. Prophecy trying to output some damage. Ziggy with the real manipulation, though. And Joybaj ends up getting taken out there. New Wave quick to come up and rotate to this gold lane and strike back. Now New Wave may have the advantage here. They're going to try to take this gold lane tower. And as you mentioned in the first game, it's a race to see who can take it first and let that gold laner start rotating back from the top. We are seeing a bit. Prophecy does go down. Tamal taken out as well. It's a 1-for-1 trade, but the tower finally falls into the hands of New Wave.
Yeah, I think this is one of the great things that New Wave has is Tamal this time, instead of being on that Masha, right, and you're on this Atlas, you can be okay being like, okay guys, let's pull the go here. I'm going to die, but we're going to set up an awesome Fatal Link so you guys can profit off it, right? And you can see off cam too, Dogtor getting a kill here. Once again, like I said, that Dairoth, he only had the Hunter Strike a little bit ago when we checked it out, but you know, he's already got quite a bit of damage just in his kit at this point in the game. And as we get ready for that next turtle here in about 15 seconds, it's going to be tough, right? Team First Blood obviously in a comfortable position. Now the BOD's locked in there from Gina God mode, but I mean, look at just this frontal wave coming out from literally New Wave, right? I mean, they don't have as many meatballs, but they have an Atlas and they have Indo on the ballman. So that seems to be doing its job just fine.
Yeah, definitely. And the way they're just rotating Dogtor, though, may go down. Kid makes the play, able to get that kill. But the Fatal Links comes in, pulls Kid under the tower. Kid trying to get away, will be able to escape that, able to dodge that final tower strike, able to get out just in time. So Team First Blood doesn't want you to count them out just yet, but New Wave right now with this presence over the map, Joy Boys needs to be careful here. They can't just dive in like they did in the first game. Prophecy taking a lot of damage from Jappa, definitely starting to scale up, but New Wave is just snowballing right now. They are just holding together in this pocket formation, not letting them find any kinks.
All right, okay. You know, New Wave, interesting, right? In terms of like this lineup that we were talking about in the draft, they're doing a lot better than expected. I mean, yeah, especially going against what Team First Blood have here. Tamal looking for another setup.
Oh, Luffy will get taken down there, but Tamal pays the price. So it's a 1-for-1 trade. Feels equal on my side, but New Wave still controlling the map.
Oh, man. Okay, I don't think they're... actually... Baited.
Baited very well. And New Wave showing much better mechanical skills in some of these fights than what we saw in the first time. We thought they were going to have problems, but they are definitely doing much better overall in some of these micro fight mechanics.
I'm not sure here, Trex, if like these moments that Team First Blood is looking for, I mean, there is a lot of 1-for-1 trades happening, but I'm not sure if it's worth it for them, right? Because some of these kills, especially, once again, that one previously just went to Ziggy, right? Who's running that mystery shop, who's going to be locking in those items a lot faster. And now you did question, you know, does Eve have enough damage? And if you get to this point where you are in the game, where you're 2-0-4 running mystery shop, you will have good damage into the mid game, right? When that first big Lord comes up here. So that's the thing you got to watch out for. Yeah, some of these trades are kind of questionable because they seem forced from Team First Blood, where they don't really have to take some of these. And again, I think it's better if Team First Blood just farms up a little bit, because you can see even Joybaj is like, his plan on the Sakai isn't working like it did in game 1. And now, again, just a lot of these initiations.
Ooh, Fatal Links comes down. Speaking of initiations, Luffy will go down. but another one. Tamal once again dies after that fatal links, and they keep on going. Indo will be next. Gina God mode going God mode, trying to make some plays. Joy Boys getting singled out from Dogtor here. Jappa also doing a little bit of bush work. Prophecy just trying to defend this middle tower as much as possible, and Team First Blood finds a moment. They want to fight for this. They're starting onto the Lord, brought down to about half health. Ziggy and Jappa playing the wall here. Dogtor keeping the distance, waiting for the possible move. Does come in, but Kid secures the Lord. They will bow down as well. Dogtor getting taken out. Team First Blood found a moment. They've taken it. Lord goes into their hands along with Dogtor.
Big play there, right? Now they've evened the gold here across the board. I mean, looking at the instant replay, it started with Kid, right? But look, the force to fight this time from New Wave, and although they get Luffy down, they just end up losing this fight. They lose some key members here, meaning their jungler, right? Indo went down, so they didn't have the retribution available to contest the Lord, and now we see Team First Blood playing around that, but already Luffy get lethal counter to the face here. But that's the thing, right? Team First Blood has gained some ground, right? They have the Lord going on the top lane, most likely going to make quick work of because, you know, New Wave, it's just the normal Lord, shouldn't really result into much. But what they can do, Team First Blood can open the map here like they're going to go ahead and focus on that tier 1 turret in the mid lane. That's really what they have to do. They have to start continuing to get space around the map and looking for plays themselves.
Yeah, and they need, I think Tamal needs to be a little bit careful. Dogtor going down here. Indo trying to make a play. Kid brought under the tower with the fatal links, but Gina God mode locks down onto Ziggy. Ziggy in a bad spot. The double kill goes to Gina. Jappa now almost getting cut off by Joy Boys, but Tamal pulls back, doesn't want to force it. We're going to give another tower over to Team First Blood here.
Yeah, they get a out of that whole play, the whole Lord play, they get pretty much 2 towers. They get a lot of space. Look at the gold swing now, right? Yeah. The entire game, New Wave was really in control, and it's slowly slipping out of their hands. This is Gene in God mode, going to get another turret here. And even top, right? The top turret is nearly down as well. So already, Team First Blood has switched the game around, right? And look at the items. They're in a very comfortable position, especially Gina God mode. That Malefic Roar, the BOD, that's why we're seeing so much of this burst output. And we can even see Gina God mode looking for those setups with the Wesker, right? And just looking for those iconic Beatrix moments that we're all used to seeing at this point. So, you know, and now here's another lockdown.
Oh, Indo's going to probably go down to this, trying to escape, but the flame shot finishes him off. Indo bites the bullet there. Now, you mentioned Gina, and I just feel like Team First Blood has been so patient with these fights. Gina waiting for Ziggy to bring out that real manipulation in the last big scrim, and comes right in on her, brings in the Nibiru's passion, and just melts Ziggy down, stopping that. Tamal, on the other hand, has been using these fatal links, but only catching 1, maybe 2 people at a time. I think New Wave needs to wait for their moment, wait for the big play, and make it happen.
Man. You know, I feel like Luffy letting out some of his frustration there, right? He's got the 5 deaths, but he was like, you know what, I got this flame shot on point, grabs the kill there. So, you know, that all these small things, these small kills that they're finding across the map are really setting themselves up for this first, you know, this is really the Lord here that counts, right? This first beefed up one. Again, we're going to see Tamal looking to get some vision and try to give the upper hand here to New Wave, because they do have great positioning, but here comes the conceal play.
Oh, Joy Boys does have that heavy spin on, only able to connect on Tamal. He does still have a half bar of health, but the damage is coming in. Luffy gets picked off in the back line. Jappa starting to do some big damage, forced to flicker away though, because Prophecy is just a little too much. Now Tamal also playing the distance, but the Lord Pit has gone into the hands of Team First Blood now. New Wave forced to retreat back to base. Ziggy does still have a real manipulation, does still have a bit of availability, and Team First Blood may just know that, so they decide to back off of this Lord. Now Dogtor and the rest of New Wave are trying to make their move, but I think this is what Team First Blood wants. Gina holding out in this bush. Tamal knows, smells something, tries to push them back. Dogtor coming in, a beautiful fatal links onto Gina God mode, but Gina God mode flickers back. Nibiru's passion comes in and Tamal may go down. Lord does fall into the hands of New Wave though. They bought enough time, but now New Wave is on the run. Indo taken out, so you get 1 kill for Team First Blood, but Lord is now crashing towards them.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, with that whole event there, right, you saw that potential for a great setup here coming out from New Wave, but unfortunately for them, I mean, It was great play from Gina Godmode, able to flicker out to safety, you know, pop some of that damage as well. But that's the thing. With them grabbing this Lord here, Trex, they can now try to even the score here, especially in the mid lane, right? They still have the tier 1 turret to deal with. They still have to work on that. New Wave needs to make a big power play through this pretty much. And that is just a space game at this point, right? You need to get that space. You need to get into the base here for Team First Blood, because as we're seeing both teams pretty much like they're still respecting each other's damage even at this point, right? It's still very close.
Yeah, definitely respecting each other. I like the way that in that last Lord fight, I've been a little worried about the way Tamal's been using those Fatal Links, but that time it worked. And he has been. He's been zoning certain members away, and maybe he only locks onto one, maybe he locks onto two, but he keeps them away from what New Wave wants. And in that moment, it mattered because it helped them get that Lord. It created enough space, as you said, for them to complete that. So now Lord is crashing in. Of course, I don't think this is the end of Team First Blood for this game unless we see some huge major mistake, but the game may be falling back into the hands of New Waves. A little bit of a back and forth here, Naisu.
Yeah, I think they'll be able to defend this fine. I don't even think Lord's going to make it to that tier 1 turret, as we can see pretty much the whole team on that bottom portion of the map, right? So they're going to deal with this. The thing is, though, New Wave does get these turrets, right? They're going to go ahead and try to focus on more turrets, but actually they don't even get the mid tier 1 turret, right? Unless the minion figures itself.
Fatal Links does come on. Gina Godmode completely annihilated. Joy Boys coming in with the heavy spin, trying to keep them at bay. Does catch onto Kid here. Kid maybe in a bad spot. The stun comes in though. Kid forced to run away, ends up getting taken out from Dog Tour. That is a 2-for-0 trade. New Wave starting to come out in these team fights.
You know, that's the thing. If you're Team First Blood, you got to be very aware of the frontal cone of damage coming out from New Wave, right? You're talking about lethal counter, abysm, strike alone. Those two things you want to avoid. How are you going to get past that now? Luffy's getting finessed on by Joppa here on this Nathan pick. And so at this point in the game, this is where Nathan really shines, right? He's got plenty of items across the board, especially that Berserker's Fury, the Malefic Roar, DHS. He's going to be doing a ton of damage like we just saw on the beefy meatball boys, right? That was the answer here. And also paired with that Inspire, I mean, this is tough to deal with. Now the Siege in the second.
Tamal does go in. Gina Godmode picked off once again. Joy Boy's trying to make a play, but Dog Tour is able to flicker away, and they get nothing. Tamal goes down, yes, but you lose your gold laner once again, and you lose your EXP laner. So at some point, they need to figure out how to keep Gina Godmode safe here, because New Wave's doing a great job with Joppa, right? And Joppa doesn't even really need the peel. He can always flicker away, always escape with that entropy ultimate, right? So it's definitely going to end up being a problem if Team First Blood cannot get to Joppa here.
You know, I feel like what's happening here too for Team First Blood is just Joybodge isn't having an easy time finding the right setups here on the heavy spin, and it's mostly just because, again, the amount of damage on New Wave this time around, especially that frontal cone of damage, is really messing with Joybodge, right? He hasn't died a bunch of times, but you can see the struggle there, looking for the right angles, looking for the setups here with the heavy spin. It's a lot harder this time. And now this next Lord comes up. Crucial for both teams here. New Wave's going to go ahead and start it.
Oh, Joy Boys is trying to come in, but the Lord is down to half health. Luffy not able to make a play, does get stunned up, and Indo takes the Lord. Tamal with the Fatal Links coming down. They will be shredded. Joy Boy will be first. Luffy will be next. Joy Boy actually still up, able to last around, able to actually get a kill onto Dog Tour there. But Gina Godmode with the shotgun out. Ziggy will go down along with Joppa. It's a 3-for-2 trade. New Wave takes the Lord though, but overall Team First Blood should be able to shred it down with Gina Godmode still up.
That was interesting. I mean, I was wondering, you know, Gina Godmode, that positioning there, but able, even with the Winter Truncheon being popped here, able to find a kill. I mean, even Joppa going down, right? And this whole team fight was kind of all over the place, but look at the burst damage coming out from Gina Godmode, right? That's exactly what we expect from a Beatrix at this point. Yes, they should be able to handle this Lord just fine. They shouldn't lose any more turrets as long as they handle the waves as well. And this is, again, what I'm talking about, right? At this point in the game, 18 minutes in, it really just comes down to those mechanical decisions during the team fights, right? Joy Bodge, if he can find a pick, great. If he can't, then just use it to peel for Gina God mode, because like what we just saw there, Gina God mode is this key, right? At this point in the game, both gold laners for both teams need to be protected, right? And what we're seeing a lot of is Tamal using those the fatal links for the initiations to really set things up into that real world manipulation. But again, you can kind of use those both ways as long as you can protect Joppa. Now the conceal play coming out from Joy Bodge.
Yeah, Joy Boys trying to come into anything. Gina does try to find an angle around the side. The Joy Boys couldn't make the play, so they decided to disengage, but I like the opportunity there, right? And they do gain a little bit of space onto this map. Now, it definitely is in the hands of these gold laners. They are the ones making the plays. Joppa able to secure now 7 kills, Gina with 6. And also, it's going to be, like you said, Tamal and Joy Bodge. Who can make the better pick? Who can peel a little bit better for their gold laner? Doctor as well has done a good job. You mentioned him in the very early game, and even now into the late. He may not be the flashiest. He may not be, 5-0, but he has made it work. He's done enough damage, able to keep players like Kid and Luffy at bay, but here comes Luffy and Kid trying to do something. Demonic Force does come in. Tamal with those fatal links, but the rest of the team is not there. God mode gets the kill, but Joy Bodge does go down as well. Both tanks, but Joppa finally picked off. Gina God mode able to find the right play, the right angle. Gina God mode now hunting down onto Dogtor. Dogtor on the run. Gina has used that dash, but I got a feeling you may be able to catch up. Dogtor is trying to get away as Gina God mode backs off, but Team First Blood now coming out on top. The gold is even, the kills are even, and we're 20 minutes in.
And it's like, who can dash further here, right? Who's more athletic, basically. So, going back to that team fight, too, before that, it was a great one by both sides. But again, we saw the potential here, right? Gold lanes, the micro decisions, Gina God mode coming out on top of that one. Even across the board, items already pretty much locked in for the majority of the teams. And now we're going to see another Lord, a big one here for both teams as they want to find the perfect setup, Trex.
Yeah, Luffy is playing the distance. Gina has come in from the bush, but this time the World Manipulation does come out. Nabir's Passion able to finish it. Takes the Lord and takes them all. Gina God mode now chasing down Indo as we do see Luffy into the back lane, able to take out Dogtor, and next will be Indo. That's a double kill for Gina God mode. Luffy picks one up. Joppa actually able to take out Luffy. Missed call on my behalf, but Lord is stomping. Lord is coming. Gina along with it, and the rest of the team, Team First Blood, is here to try to make this a 2-0. It's 4 up against Ziggy and Joppa all alone. The crash comes in, and I don't know if there's much Joppa can do here. Kid trying to zone them away. The Lord is connected, but Gina has the gun out and takes game 2 for Team First Blood. This could be a possible sweep.
Man, I was going to say, game 2 alone is just such a topsy-turvy game. Could have literally gone in either of the team's hands here, but still, Team First Blood just showing, it comes down to those micro decisions, and this time, once again, Gina God mode. Just what a performance, Trex.
Yeah, even after not doing the best in the early game, like having those 3 deaths, we didn't. But once Gina God mode started to pop off, like right around that, I think 17-minute mark or something, after the second Lord, I think it was just, when we saw the shotgun come out and she was able to get the kill onto Ziggy and Dogtor, I'm pretty sure it was, from there on, it was just a uphill climb for Team First Blood, and New Wave slowly declined.
And, that's the thing. Joppa had a much better game this time around, right? On that Nathan. And still, the struggle was there for both teams. For New Wave. And you saw in the early game, the focus on the gold lanes for both teams, but still somehow, some way, with the mechanical prowess of Gina God mode, basically able to find those right moments, the right picks, and survive a lot of the initiations that came out from Tamal. Like that, all just every little decision there just turned up to have the game in their favor. Now, sitting at 2-0, that's a big thing here for Team First Blood, because a lot of people didn't expect this, Trex.
No, a lot of people did not expect it at all. I think one of the major things I'm seeing from Team First Blood is, like you mentioned, those small decisions in these team fights. And as I mentioned earlier, the patience from Team First Blood and Gina, Joybudge waiting for the right moment to come in. Don't try to rush it. They're letting New Wave almost engage and start these team fights and then striking back hard. Letting Tamal get out of position, use those fatal links, destroy him, and then just sweep through. So New Wave, I think, needs to be a bit more meticulous about how they start these team fights. Do not send Tamal out to his death. Yes, it's okay maybe to sacrifice yourself once in a while for the fatal links, as we mentioned, but I don't know if you want to do it every single time, especially if you're only catching 1 or 2 players.
Yeah, and a lot of the times, the players that were caught sometimes weren't the players, that you wanted to catch.
That's very true. But before we go any farther, we're going to have a quick word from our amazing host, Assassin Dave.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the host desk. What a series so far. 2-0 to the favor of Team First Blood. New Wave coming in strong. They have an advantage, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not familiar with the tournament format, the grand final is double elimination. This entire final stage is double elimination with a 2 chance to beat for the winner bracket finalists. That means if Team First Blood wouldn't want to win this tournament, they will have to beat New Wave in the best out of 5, and then they will have a chance to beat them again in another best out of 1. And only then would they win this entire tournament. So, even though Team First Blood has made an incredible comeback so far, New Wave, they're still having just a little bit of advantage. So if you're supporting New Wave, don't give up. Keep on cheering for your team, and you're supporting for Team First Blood. This is your time to be even louder. Share the stream, like, subscribe, and turn on notification bell to all, so you will catch all the live streams going forward for the North America Mobile Legend tournaments. Ladies and gentlemen, we have some questions of the day. Make sure to answer those questions in the chat right now to interact with our incredible community. Question number 1, which team are you cheering for? Obviously, this is your time to type those team names. This is your time to let the teams see. Remember, the players are in the chat. They're seeing you. So they can see how much excitement you're supporting them, so make sure to answer the questions. Number 2, do you want to see longer format North America Challenger Tournament? With that being said, do you want to see this last 2 to 3 months in the next tournament? Let us know, and we will organize even better, greater tournament in the future. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and take a short break. If you're watching the stream right now and you're from North America region, you have not redeemed the giveaway code, make sure to do that right now with the link in description and the code shown on screen. This way, you can get 100 free diamonds. Only the first 200 viewers from North America region, including United States of America and Canada, can get those juicy free diamonds. So with that being said, we're gonna be on a short break, and we'll see you back in just a few minutes.
super strong throughout the whole NACT tournament, and I would love to see them continue to flourish. Good luck to everybody, though. I hope that everybody has a super fun and amazing tournament, and everybody's gonna do great. Good luck, guys.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. That's Maria right there, giving some great words to New Wave, supporting New Wave. Now, New Wave, right now, they're at the mercy of Team First Blood because it is TFB's match point. They have to win one more game to level up the entire playing field and get us to a best out of one. Whoever wins that wins the entire tournament. Ladies and gentlemen, the stake cannot be any higher. Are we gonna see a reverse sweep from Team New Wave? Or is this just gonna be an epic comeback from Team First Blood, coming all the way from losers bracket to the winner of the NACT summer season? Without further ado, I'm gonna quickly send over to our incredible, our amazing, our talented caster's desk.
All right, Naisu, this could be it. This you know, we're getting closer to the finish here. Definitely very, very unexpected. I'm hoping that New Wave, I want to see the distance. I think as casters, we all want to see the distance, but sadly, sometimes that just doesn't happen, even with the previous game, right? New Wave was looking good there. Even when the odds were a little against them with the draft, they were looking good. They almost had that game in their hands, but Team First Blood strikes again and takes it from them. So what do you think they got to do to pick up the pieces and possibly get the reverse sweep here? Or even just another game at that?
Man, you know, draft. It's always the draft. That's always the answer. Like, your draft is really where it starts, right? And I would say that, I mean, between you and I and maybe some of the viewers out there, game 1 and 2 draft, it's kind of like, you know, what is the game plan here? What are they going for? And that's one of the biggest things here is, what was New Wave going for, right? As the game progressed for match 2, it started to work a little bit, like it started to show, right? But like you said, Tomal kind of forcing maybe a little bit too much on that Atlas, on the wrong targets, or not being able to get to the targets that he wanted to get to, is kind of what it really showed itself, right? And it was better than that Masha pick, but still, really, it starts in the draft for them. I want to see them go for maybe a more of those priority picks if they can, because yes, things kind of fell into place for them as the game went on, but I would like to see New Wave just come out swinging, right? Come out swinging and get a good footing early onto the game, rather than, you know, losing that lead or letting things kind of fall apart here. And it really does start with those first picks.
Yeah, and speaking of first picks, we are coming into them right now. This time, New Wave will once again have first ban, first pick. Can they make a difference this time and take us to a game 4?
Well, here we go, right? Again, I just want to say, New Wave being on this first pick side, on the blue side,
Your team is banning.
Let's see what they decide to take. I don't want to say anything this time, because last time I said it, it was completely wrong, and all my all my banning logic just got thrown out the window. So I was like, okay, you know what? We'll leave it to New Wave here. But still, the same can be said for every single game, because the stats literally show it, right? Have something really good for your gold lane. And that's the thing. Nathan was okay for Joppa, but you kind of saw the struggle as the game progressed, right? Where, I mean, yes, you have your escape, yes, you have a damage, but still, was it the best choice for New Wave? You know, was Joppa the issue there? I mean, even with the great KDA, but look at the movements, look at him trying to get into the position to actually pump out the damage. It wasn't really happening there. So I think, again, focus on your gold lanes, give something great to Joppa, maybe even priority it, right? Or take the Thamus if it's open, because right now, Team First Blood has not banned it out. Let's see what New Wave decides to priority here with so many options.
So many. Beatrix, Thamus, so many things. Now, fine, there it is. All right, Joppa getting to play Beatrix for the first time now. Maybe, just maybe, this is all part of New Wave's plan, right? We're gonna throw them off with a couple drafts and then come in crazy, right? But they are sacrificing something that we saw Team First Blood bring in game 1. the Thamus and the Ballman combo up front, prioritizing it, and it gives them just such a solid start, I feel like, in the draft, right? From here on, you have your front line essentially pretty figured out. A lot of tanks can work with these guys. You know, you just need to put some nice damage into that back line, and you can kind of counter strat from here.
Yeah, and I think, you know, if you take the Beatrix, this is what you typically expect to give up, right? You give up the Thamus. Sometimes it's like an Akai, sometimes, you know, it would be Julian if he was open here, but, you know, okay. So New Wave wants to go with Dyroth once again, and they're going to also take this Lunox, which, here's the thing about Lunox. Lunox has actually performed pretty well here in, you know, Southeast Asia. Now that it's been popping up more in that mid lane. But, you know, we saw in, I believe it was game 1, where unfortunately you didn't get to do what you pick Lunox for, right? And it's really that good scaling, that good burst, those Chaos Bolts hurt, or to bait things out with Brilliance, right? We didn't get to see that much in game 1. So now I do want to say New Wave has a better starting draft here for the first phase. It really does depend on what they take for Rome, right? So I expect Team First Blood to kind of focus on taking out those comfort picks or those targeted picks, at least for the Rome, right? And Team First Blood having this Thamus plus the Wanwan is already a great start for them too, right? It really, once again, I keep saying this, but the gold lane matchups is what you really have to focus on, because so far from what we've seen, both of them are very neck and neck. But I gotta say, man, Gina God mode with the minute differences in the decision making in terms of the micro mechanics. Gina God mode has just been proving that. Literally God mode, literally a little bit more superior in that department. So we'll see, right, what they decide to round that out with.
New Wave, if they need to ban out the Sakai, I think. I know I was holding on to that last game, and yes, they have a bit more range this time, but once again, the Lunox should do great against the Thamus, right? Should do great against the Ballman if you can find those angles and melt them down, and possibly even get some nice ambushes onto Gina God mode. But I think Indo could end up being the problem with this Dyroth if they don't stop Team First Blood from putting something that's going to be a major hindrance, like the Akai, something that stops him from engaging and setting up these fights, it's going to be a big problem. So this last ban could be very detrimental to how they handle it, and they do take out the Akai. So now we have to see Joybaj pick up something else. We know he's been great on the Cho, could be a possibility here. We know he's been great on some other things, but at least we're changing something up. New Wave finally adapting in this third draft and forcing Team First Blood to do something a little bit different.
Yeah, I think, again, you know, this is a lot better start than what they've had. And it's the question for me still is the Dyroth as well, right? If it is going in the jungle, you know, what are we going to expect with that matchup versus that Ballman, right? Because that's what we need to see here, right? That jungle matchup as well as the gold matchup. But Team First Blood locking in a Grok here, solid choice, right? They're going to look for those setups. Now, here's the thing, though. Grok is a great choice, but it's kind of been a little bit less effective than what we're used to seeing, right? Wild Charge is still great, but sometimes finding those angles to set up, like we saw Joybaj struggle with on the Akai, could be very well the same thing that he has on this Grok, right? So we also see Louis coming out to play here. Interesting.
And Bane. And that's a Bane in the jungle now. Wait a second, Indo with the swap here, bringing Bane into the jungle. Don't think I've seen this in a long time, in a little while at least. Now, I've seen, so about a season or two ago, I saw New Wave run Bane as a support, mage damage Bane, and it did work. And now, theoretically, the deadly catch, right? It could possibly help deal with the Grok. It could possibly help deal when Ballman tries to come in and push back, you know, and possibly make those game-changing moments. But you're going to have to make every single one count. And the question is he going to go magic build? Is he going to go damage build here? Definitely a big question. Normally, I feel like with the jungler, you go physical. Before we go any deeper into analytics here, we are in possibly the last game of this best of 5. Team First Blood is hungry for it. New Wave, on the other hand, needs to make a win here if they want to go farther. This is New Wave up against Team First Blood. Nice hit.
Okay, interesting, right? Indo rolling with the killing spree on this Bane jungle, and going against typical what Kid is running, right? And that's what we're gonna expect here. Oh wow, early damage already on Ziggy, but should be fine here. Pops the sprint actually early on. So going back to the point, right? In terms of a Bane jungle, where does it really shine? Well, one, he can clear really quickly, and he can kill things pretty quickly as he gets those levels up, right? But the thing is, deadliest catch. How do you play around that? How do you use that? Well, typically, you can use it really well around the turtle, right? The turtle pit, the lord pit, if you can find those setups. Now, who complements that? Tamal, once again, right? With the Newmon Blast. But the thing is, as we've seen, Tamal has struggled a little bit, right? Finding those right setups. And that's really what we're going to be looking for, too, with what is drafted here. Because same time, man, Dogtor looking for those Abysm strikes. If Tamal can find the right angles, the right setups, then they're in a great position to win those skirmishes, win those team fights, right? They've got great ultimates across the board, but still, and the same could be said for Team First Blood. But yeah. The question is, how do you play around the Lue Yi, right? There's quite a bit of damage there, but how do you utilize, even the ultimate there? Like, do you cheese it? Do you use it for advantage? That's the tough thing for them, right? Now, Joybot already have to pop that flicker early on here. And as I said, that turtle's going to be up here in just a couple seconds.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Lue Yi could be the possible problem there. I mean, against the Bane, against the Dairoth, if you can get that yin yang, get that passive in and possibly cause some disturbance. But wait a second, the Lord is up here.
Yeah, well, Turtle's going to be slain here by Kid as he grabs that one, forcing Tamal with the flicker. Now the initiation comes out. Luffy's still alive with the vengeance, but Tamal able to survive that one. But first blood off camera, going over to Jaffa here on that Beatrix. Finally getting the upper hand here in that gold lane off the bat, 2 minutes into the game.
Jaffa, listen, you play that Beatrix every chance you get, you bring it in every chance you get, and this just shows right there, already taking that gold plating down a half, getting a 1v1 kill onto someone that's been very mechanically inclined in these small transactions on the map. Oh, a little bit of cheese there as we were talking about. And that's the possibilities of the Lue Yi. You know who's a great Lue Yi player that made plays happen with the diversion? Nicolette on Team Sexy. Not a lot of players pick up the Lue Yi, but when I watched her play it, the way they use that ultimate to get positions, to get surprises, to rotate around the map, they made it happen. So Prophecy can do that as well. We could see some nice, beautiful moments coming in from the diversion, but a little bit of a 1v1 up here in the top.
Yeah, no, look, Kid also looking for the cutoff here. Gonna just try to find the right setup with the lethal counter. Kid spinning a win, but forcing Dogtor back should be fine. And going back to the Lue Yi, right? Because this is the thing, right? Yes, Nicolette showed just kind of the powers that can be used with that. The diversion alone, that's the thing. How do you use the diversion effectively, right? That's the biggest question for a lot of these teams that decide to pick that, because we've even seen that pop up once or twice here. Even in a previous Asian tournament just recently, right? And it was the same thing. They found moments that really worked, and they found moments that didn't. But now the folks on the bot lane, they actually punish Jaffa, right? So this is the thing. We saw the focus there. That's going to lead them into this next turtle. And Team First Blood really setting the pace once again as they get this small gold lead here.
Yeah, and this has been the story over the past 3 games now, right? Team First Blood has always had a little bit of a gold lead. Even if they take a death, even if they're down 1 or something, they have that advantage in the beginning, and they're able to kind of press around the map. New Wave not hovering over that gold lane as much as we saw before, to the point where Jaffa gets ganked, gets taken out. It seems like Tamal this time is focusing a bit more with with Indo, with Ziggy, trying to make plays happen elsewhere on the map. Diversion is coming in, able to get a nice position here.
Nice little disposition there, forcing Jaffa to flicker here. He does have the shield. Here comes Joybot looking for a setup. There's the deadliest catch. They do find him in the bush. Joybot takes the return damage. The Chaos Bolts hurt too much. And now the return once again. But look at Kid. Finds the kill on Jaffa. Meanwhile, the rest, it's going to be a 1-for-1 for now. Kid should be fine. The rest of the team going to back off and disengage.
Yeah, I mean, a good trade, and there's that diversion, right? Coming into that bush, getting a beautiful position onto Jaffa there, forced to flicker away, and Jaffa still gets caught off. And Kid's doing a great job at coming around that side, finding that moment. Team First Blood in general, these are these small moments in these team fights where every player knows where he needs to be at the right time to capitalize on these team fights as much as possible. And speaking of team fights, we may have another one here.
Already forcing the brilliance out here from Ziggy. There's going to be the deadliest catch. Dogtor is trying to make his way, but that's going to be another kill for Gina God Mode. And they're happy with that. Tamal with the shield, but unfortunately a little bit too late. Ziggy does go down. So Team First Blood once again finding a kill here. And this is the thing, right? The focus was on the gold lanes. They're happy with it. Gina God Mode now just transitioning to find some more kills. They do lose that turret in the bottom lane, but at this point, it's pretty much fine, right? Gina God Mode where they want to be, but now into the jungle, they find another kill here. Indo going down, this time Luffy. He's going to go in, pop the Vengeance, looking for Dogtor. Gets quite a bit of damage himself. Double kill, though, for him. But finally, he falls. Ziggy with a kill. Kid really low here. Has to back off just in case. But under the turret, Gina Godmo popping the crossbow of Tang. Finding another kill. Popping the Brilliance one more time. Can he get the cleanup? And that's it. They find more kills. Team First Blood showing dominance.
You know, a lot of teams, when they have an early game advantage and they know their composition is set up, like they have this Ballman and they know the enemy jungler is weaker, they still don't press in sometimes. But Team First Blood, not scared at all. Look at the way that Kid and Joybudge and Prophecy come in. They know they have some nice early game damage. They have the ability to invade and make plays, and they do it. They don't waste any time. They're not nervous about it. They just come in. They know when they need to be aggressive, and they are fulfilling it to a T. Team First Blood now with a nice lead. At only 7 minutes, looking very familiar to game one. Jappa may go down here, though.
Trying to punish Jappa here. Luffy bit off a little more than he could chew, but here comes the diversion. They're going to look for the setup. He gets the kill, takes out Jappa. Here's the team. Wild charge comes out, and they get set up here. Triple kill for Luffy before finally going down. Brilliant's going to be popped here, but at what cost? Ziggy going to be focused on, and he finally gets taken out. Prophecy with another kill.
Team First Blood right there. For a second, I'm thinking, all right, you're about to get the pick onto Luffy. Luffy able to survive just long enough. And look at this. Wait for this. Joybudge rotates down. You can see them on the mini-map right now. The diversion comes in. They come in. The wild charge just to set everything up in the biggest turnaround of the past 3 games. Yes, you get Luffy at the very end there, but 3 of your most important members go down. A wonderful, beautiful, picture-perfect play from Team First Blood right there.
Man, we were wondering, how do you use that diversion? There you go. That's how you use it. And there you go. They find another kill. Crossbow Tang going to be committed here. Gina, but they get another kill on Indo. Man, I got to say, Indo is struggling here on this Bane jungle pick. And it has not been going very well for New Wave as a whole here. Team First Blood just looking to take the series right now and force that next matchup. And, I mean, across the board, Trex, New Wave, what did they even do here? I mean, at this point, right, the gold lead is falling out of their hands. It's getting further and further apart. What does New Wave come back from this?
I mean, they do have some possible damage, right? You still have Jappa's at 1-4. It's a hard case to argue. If I'm the lawyer for New Wave right now, it is definitely going to be tough. What I can say where I think some things went wrong was, once again, you have the killing spree that you mentioned in game one. And if that's what you're going for, if you're going for those more of a, I feel like killing spree, it really pops off in the mid to late game or with an assassin, aggressive hero. But if you're pairing to someone with Bane, you're waiting for this time in the game, right? And hopefully you haven't leaked too much. Hopefully you haven't fallen behind too much. So New Wave, they let themselves get caught back. They needed to maybe just stall in those early phases, not try to be aggressive, but Team First Blood is just amazing at pushing these fights. Now, there are still some possibilities. Tamal could still possibly catch some nice angles, but I think at this point it's play it safe, play it cool, buy as much time as possible for Jappa, Ziggy, and Indo here.
I think that's a big problem, though, too. Even just taking a look at the items, right? He's going pretty much full damage at this point. So you're relying on Tamal to find those setups. Dogtor has a little bit of defense with the Dominance Eyes, but not much, right? So you don't have much of a front line, right? If Tamal can't find those setups, those picks with that Doomed on Blast, I mean, everybody is just going to fall if they're looked at right now from Team First Blood, right? And right now, Lord already marching into this top lane, going to be working on that turret. They might be able to get this here. Tamal getting the stun from Luffy, but they're happy with this first turret in the base. It's only 10 minutes here, Trex. And right now, Team First Blood just completely in the driver's seat.
Yeah, and there's not much. Like, yes, Tamal has the Numen on Blast, and once again, you're putting a lot of weight on Tamal right now. A lot of weight to try to make these plays happen. New Wave just keeping it defensive. I like the fact that right now, they're not trying to push out. Like, don't do anything crazy. Just stay in your base. Maybe let Team First Blood, let Joy Budge try to make a big flicker wild charge, you know? Let Kid bite off a bit more than he can take. But once again, the problem is going to be Gina firing these crossbows of Tangs off. And here comes Joy Budge right now.
Joy Budge goes in with a wild charge. He does fall, but that's going to be unstoppable. Gina God mode finding kill, but actually turned around here to fall for Team First Blood. Tamal looking for a stun here, not going to be able to get it. Luffy trying to recall. He does just in time. So again, you were just commenting about this, Trex. You know, Team First Blood, they don't need to force those fights. They could have literally just been happy with the the one inhibitor turret, and then just backed off, right? They had about a 10k gold lead, and they just gave a couple thousand gold over to New Wave. So that's the thing. Those types of decisions where you're forcing fights in, not the best, right? Now, they can probably still make up for it. They're still well ahead of the gold here for Team First Blood against New Wave. But at the same time, you have to be crucial and conscious about those moments, right? Because slowly but surely, Jappa will be online with this Beatrix. And if they can play around that, and again, if Tamal can somehow find the Hail Mary, Numen on Blast to set them up, it could work, right? Especially paired with the Missing Strike. So there's a lot here on the side for New Wave. But can they contest against this next Lord? That is a big question mark, and I don't think they can really go toe-to-toe, and that's why Dogtor is focusing on those objectives at the top side. Just give up this Lord, let's defend a little bit longer, grab a turret. We need every amount of gold that we can get.
I mean, they do have the damage, and we know from seeing that Team First Blood is a little giddy right now, right? They're 2-0. They know they're this much closer to taking this whole championship. So we just saw them. As you said, they didn't have to go in there, but they decided, let's try to end this here. New Wave, if they can wait for one more play like that, they can get a bit more time. They could possibly clear this Lord. They have Ziggy, and they have Jappa still. Though they have fallen behind, the damage should be enough to melt down this Lord. It's all going to be about position here. Is Team First Blood going to catch New Wave off guard, or is New Wave going to make a play that makes them lose this game? They are down an inhibitor right now, so Lord's going to have free reign to walk right into their base. Does New Wave wait at the base, or do they maybe meet this Lord a little bit earlier? It looks like they're going to try to keep this at a very defensive position.
Yeah, they've got to defend these turrets the best they can, but already going to be focused here in the bottom lane. Team First Blood looking for setup. Here comes a conceal play. Joy Budge as well. There's the deadliest catch, forcing the brilliance out here. Luffy takes quite a bit of damage. Down to the turret. Joy Budge gets caught. Immortality's going to be popped here. Looking for another setup. Gina God mode, popping the crossbow of Tang, forcing everybody back to the fountain. And right now, they're making the smart decision, right? Give up a couple more mortalities, grab that bottom turret. Hey, let's back off. Let's reset. That's the best case scenario for them, but still, you can see the amount of damage potential coming out from New Wave. It's clearly there, and it's getting to the point. Again, my biggest thing is how do you utilize Indo on this Bane, right? We saw the deadliest cat come out. He's got some damage. He's looking to go for the BOD next. So, you know, at some point, if he doesn't really have to be, doing anything else other than just popping out damage with the setups like we saw from Tamal, that's the best place where they could set up. But how can they continue to pull that off? There's going to be the wild charge. Joy Budge finds another one. There's the Guardian's Berry. Tamal going to get caught in a bad place here. Luffy goes in with a vengeance. Jappa's going to be the focus here. Gets stunned, but still alive. Gina God mode finding a kill for himself. They lose 2. It's a 2 for 2 so far. Dogtor now going to be focused on with Jappa with the return, finding Gina. And now it's Team First Blood with their backs against the wall, retreating here.
That is huge. I mean, all the way back to the Lord, but let's back it up. Let's rewind it for a second. I think I got a minute to talk possibly here. So, first of all, Tamal, I thought it was all over when the Lord is coming. The wild charge is about to interrupt his Numen on Blast, and he's able to flicker back and save that whole team fight. Now, here again, we're looking at this team fight, and Jappa and Tamal, nice position. Tamal does go down in that fight, but he's able to hold them all off. And once again, Indo, not the aggressor, but stops that wild charge from really fully connecting, stops the whole team from really fully pouncing on top of them. Joppa now finding nice positions. Even, I mean, the snipe shot onto Gina Godmode right there saved the day, honestly. So New Wave, all the members of the team are finally finding some synergy and making plays that matter. With this Lord, there could possibly be a contest. Yes, they are at a 4K deficit, but New Wave looks good. They've been winning team fights at this deficit, and I don't think they want to give up this Lord easily.
Yeah, they got to be careful, right? Dogtor was just caught out there a little bit, had to burn the flicker. Now Tamal looking for setup, and look at the damage on Luffy. Even with a vengeance, can take quite a bit of magic damage. He falls here. There's a new run blast. They do find one. New Wave now in a good position to contest this one. Pop the Brilliance here too. They are kind of low here. Tamal's got to be careful, or has to respect the damage. Deadliest Catch comes out. It's going to be easily dodged here. Team First Blood. Lord's going to go ahead and reset once again. No one wants to fully commit to it just yet. Joppa's got to be careful as well. He's the main focus point here, right? Joppa wants to continue to stay alive here, look for the right positioning, and that's what we see here. Joybon's trying to get some vision. Oh, Lord's still going to be bounced around between both teams. Prophecy sitting in that bush. So now we have pretty much, they're trying to stall this out, right? They need Luffy to be back here. Yeah, they need him. Oh, the diversion. That was going to be trying to get Joppa here. They do cut him off a little bit. Joy Boy is now on the chase, missing the wild card. Joppa now running for his life, able to get some space here. Kid looking for the lethal counter. Doesn't get it. Flicker's going to come out here, but look at the rest of the team. Gina Godmode now looking for a setup here. Everybody's just all over the place at this point. There's going to be the focus here. Dogtor now, and nobody goes down from that chaos.
Yeah, but the Lord is now into the position of Team First Blood. Not only that, New Wave has to go over, clear this wave on the top of their base. So this is going to be another Lord going in the hands of Team First Blood for a second New Wave. It felt like they had the opportunity, but that diversion play, the diversion has just come in clutch throughout this whole game. We wondered, we questioned, we were wondering, how are they going to use this? How is it going to be done? And they have showed us 4-0-6 on Prophecy. Definitely one of the major playmakers of Game 3 for the Grand Finals.
Prophecy is literally like,
I'm the Prophecy.
I'm the Prophecy. Hold my tea. I don't know if I can say the other thing, but here, hold my tea. I'll show you how to use the diversion. That was literally a diversion that they did there, and it caused so much chaos for New Wave. So now, here they are once again. They've been in this position many times. They've got to defend this time against a beefed up Lord. And now the mid turret's going to go down here. So base going to be completely exposed for New Wave. And now the focus Team First Blood looking to end the game if they can here. They've got to be careful. Joybotch does go in. Luffy finding a kill here. Indo does go down. Gina Godmode looking for the setup though. Can't get the crossbow of Tang off just yet. Bobbin and Weaving gets stunned here by Tamal. Forcing the flicker out. Takes quite a bit of damage himself. Finds the kill. But meanwhile, his teammates are falling apart here. 3 fall for Team First Blood, 2 for New Wave.
New Wave is defending wonderfully. I got to say that. And we've been putting all this weight on Joppa, right? But you know who else has been making some big damage plays? Ziggy. 6-3-2 right now. Or I think she got a kill in that. I could be wrong. But every time they put a lot of focus on Joppa, Ziggy coming in from the side and making a play. He did pick up a kill right there. So New Wave now, I mean, we're closing in. We have a 1,000 gold difference. That's all. There's still a lot of towers for New Wave to get through, but we're now at the standstill. We're getting close to the 62k mark to where it doesn't really matter about the gold lead anymore. Everyone's just about maxed itemed out. Indo, still not really the most important thing. We question that Bane, but I can say the Deadliest Catch has at least come in clutch for some of these team fights. Normally you want to have the flicker on that Bane, right? To like either get into the back and then pop the Deadliest Catch. You want to get your position right. So it's more of a reactionary. It's more of a disengaged Deadly Catch. And with him going full damage, the Deadly Catch isn't really doing anything like damage wise, right? It's completely utility, but he is making it work. Possible play into this bottom lane.
Ball card comes out. Joppa, look at the damage he's doing to Luffy. Has to force him back. Dogtor now. There's the crossbow of Tang being popped. Gina Godmode able to find a kill. Going to be blocked here with the shield. Tamal now initiating. Looking for the setup with a new one blast. Is not going to find a target, but they do get Kid as he's taken down here. New Wave once again finding a moment for just, I mean, to push back into the base here. Team First Blood really setting them up for this next Lord here. Kid is down. And I gotta say, you gotta give it up to New Wave. They worked from a 10k gold deficit, and now they have taken the lead in terms of gold here. Can they continue to secure kills around the map? Joybon's going to get the deadliest catch, but now Jabba's in trouble. He has to go down. He's taken out of the picture. Brilliant's going to be popped here. They find the right target. Tamal, the next focus. Ziggy's going to be focused back here too. Has to get out of dodge, but hold on. Tamal now going to be the focus of Luffy. Once again, Ziggy in a bad position too. Tamal still able to survive. They find another kill. Now Prophecy taking a little bit of a chance. The backfires as he falls, and this is quite the chaos here. Meanwhile, Gina God Mode, very low health, has to retreat here.
Yeah, this may be a little bit of a longer Lord pool than we thought. The Kid is back on the map now. He's going to start this up, but we know New Wave does not want to give it up easier. We got to keep our eyes on Dog Tour. May have a possible route into this back line. Maybe try to put some pressure onto Gina here. Tamal making the engage.
Gina God Mode going to focus on Tamal, looking to get that crossbow of Tang off. Looking for the right moment. There's going to be the wild charge. Deadliest catch comes out too. There's the crossbow of Tang. The damage is there. Now Dogtor going to be focused on. He has to flicker out. They're going to get chased down, get slowed, get stunned, and everything else. Gina God Mode actually going to back off here. Knows that Joppa is up. And now we have Team First Blood on the retreat. They might go ahead and try to focus on the Lord. They've got to be very careful about this because a New Wave clearing their base, it might just go in the hands of Team First Blood.
Yeah, once again, New Wave forced back to the base to clear these waves, forced to stay on their side of the map, and this is the advantage that they're going to have, that Team First Blood is going to have in all of these Lords if we see more. A nice snipe shot coming in. The Lord does go into the hands of Team First Blood, and New Wave back on the defensive. Now, the question is, can they defend it once again? You have no inhibitors. You are all alone in your base up against 5 in a Lord in 3 waves.
Yeah, and this is, you know, the beefed up Lord, as we like to call it, because it's going to hurt. And the minions also that are going to be charging in there are going to be a little bit harder to clear, right? They do have great clear, and that's why we see New Wave, you know, just defending out of their minds for the most part. But now it's Team First Blood that's going to be looking for the setup here. Deadliest catch does come out. Ziggy taking quite a bit of damage, has to pop the Brilliance here. Dog toward the next target. And now Joybotch trying to help them out here. Can they get the Lord down too? They find a kill on Dog Tower, and it is one after another. They fall. And Team First Blood taking the series, going to one more game ahead of them.
Victory!
Team First Blood is on fire. This is, you know, this is a perfect letter, a perfect note to just this tournament, how it has been. Team First Blood, Rookies of the Year, take the best of 5, and they do it in a sweeping fashion from game 1 to game 3. They are dominating through. Gina God Mode with another MVP under her belt, 12-5. I mean, what more can I say? Even with the, I was talking about New Wave's hero pool and their death, but Prophecy with the low E pick and making it work so well. You know, Team First Blood just showing their diversity as well throughout all 3 of these games.
Man. And, you know, still respect to New Wave because they came back from that 10K deficit, right? And it started to show, but I still feel like the biggest question here was Indo, right? I mean, how do you utilize that Bane properly? Because yes, the deadliest catch had some moments. Don't get me wrong, it had its moments. But still, I feel like you had a little bit of a difficult time really doing anything other than using deadly catch because you don't have that flicker to make those kind of plays that you want to see, right? So, but still, New Wave slowly came back into that game. They defended their base, 3-4 times. Unfortunately, at some point with that, 4th Lord, the beefed up one, it's going to be a little bit harder to have that amazing defense that your composition allows. And that's what we saw here, right? It was just, even mistakes were made from Team First Blood. Some of the decisions that they made, forcing fights, even Prophecy, kind of what we would call in the Philippines, gig ill, you know, he wanted to get those kills and ended up dying there, which could have ended pretty badly, but unfortunately for New Wave, Team First Blood just making the right decisions where it counted, able to siege the base, and just, once again, Gina God Mode, man.
Yeah, unfortunately, the wave became too big and the dam broke. Team First Blood has just continued to put on pressure through all of these games. And that is just the last game. Perfect symbol, right? We go all the way to 21 minutes. New Wave defense after defense able to do it, but eventually the pressure from Team First Blood wins out. Now we will have one last game to decide this all. New Wave did make it to the finals for this best of 3 and not lose it all. So they do have a slight advantage here. If they can take this game, they can still take it all. But before we go any farther, let's get back to the host, Assassin Dave.
Wow. If this is not one of the best series in the entire NACT summer season, I don't want to say, ladies and gentlemen. What a performance by Team First Blood. So like Nasu was saying, New Wave did end up coming back from a 10,000 gold deficit, which usually in Mobile Legend terms, competitive terms, was almost impossible with every single Hippo tower being taken down, and yet they were standing. They were keeping their base for as long as they could, but unfortunately the last Lord was just a little bit too overpowered, and the beefed up Lord, as Nasu put it, so it was just too much for them, so they couldn't handle it. But ladies and gentlemen, with the incredible performance Team First Blood was able to show us, we are actually bringing our entire series to another best out of 1. Whoever wins this next match will take it all. Take it all home. Be acclaimed as a champion for the NACT Summer. It's right after this. Now, I got something special for all of y'all watching, okay? If you're watching right now, you're from North America region, you're cheering on for your favorite team, just in a little bit. We're about to show a code on screen to the right side of me that can give you 200 diamonds. But only the first 10 players who redeem the code with the link in description can get that 200 diamonds. Who will get it? Are you ready? 3, 2, and 1. Use the code right now, showing up on the screen. And again, only first 10 player can redeem this code. So go ahead and use the link in description. Use the code to redeem your free diamonds. With that being said, we're gonna go ahead and take a short break, ladies and gentlemen. Not until we see this quick video from our very own North America favorite, Trex Senpai, before this whole thing actually panned out. We had Trex record a short video about his predictions on this whole tournament. And ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the moment of truth. Let's see if our prophet Trex is gonna guess the results or the direction of how this tournament is going. Let's go.
Hey guys, it's Trex, your favorite North American Mobile Legends caster, and we have quite the match coming in for the grand finals. We have Team First Blood up against New Wave. Now, Team First Blood, Rookie of the Year, the team that I've had my eyes on for a while. But if we're going to talk about numbers, we're going to talk about belts, we're going to talk about wins, the team that has been here the longest, the veterans, the ones who, in all reality, have proved themselves time and time again, we have to talk about New Wave. So if I had to pick a team on which one, which I hate doing, but if I had to pick a team on which one I think has the better odds here, I'd have to say New Wave. Good luck to both teams. Good luck to, I hope you guys put on a great show. But in the end, vamos New Wave.
Oh my goodness. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and take a short break, ladies and gentlemen. But my best friend Trax here. The New Wave, definitely, trust me. My prediction was on New Wave as well. But ladies and gentlemen, don't count New Wave out yet, because the entire tournament is coming to this one best out of 1 series. Trex might have seen this entire series into the future. So we're gonna go ahead and take a short break, and we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere, get your popcorn, get your soda, and we'll see you guys in a few minutes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the moment of the truth. Team First Blood taking on New Wave. Is this going to be the epic comeback? The comeback story for Team First Blood, dropping to the losers bracket and coming back, fighting New Wave, winning one best out of 5 in a dominating 3-0 fashion, and then win another best out of 1. Isn't it be like that? Or is New Wave gonna prove us different by leveraging their second chance to claim the title, the #1 in North America? I mean, I don't know, we shall find out, but our casters have their opinions. And ladies and gentlemen, you have not follow our casters, make sure to follow Nice2 as well as Track Senpai on their social medias because they post contents regularly for Mobile Legends Bang Bang, and you want to follow them to follow their future adventures in the Land of Dawn. With that being said, I'm going to quickly send it over to our incredible casters desk for some on-point analysis on what's going to happen in the next best out of 1.
All right, so here we are. The final match of the North American Challenges tournament. And yeah, I'm eating my words a little bit right now, but it happens. And as I said, Team First Blood is not, rookies of the year. And at this point, I think they deserve this, man. They have definitely proved themselves. They just swept New Wave in a best of 3. This is a team that they lost to early on in the bracket, right? This is a team that knocked them to the bottom bracket, and Team First Blood has now shown up, and they are playing well. New Wave, a little bit off kilter, not quite able to keep up with the aggression that Team First Blood is bringing to the table.
Yeah, and I think it's crazy to see. Everything from the past 3 weeks to a month leads down to this best of 1. Right, and if you think about all the games that have been played here, even the lower bracket for Team First Blood, then New Wave's kind of very dominant performances, you wouldn't have expected the sweep, right? That best of 5, and again, honestly, I'm going to say with the previous game, it still could happen. Like either way, right? We saw that goal deficit kind of get built up here, but now as we jump into the draft here for the next game, there's a lot on the line, obviously. That's an understatement, right? For this game, because it's the best of 1.
Yeah, everything is going to be on the line. Team First Blood will have first pick, first ban. Now, of course, there's a lot of questionings about this, but this is the format that the devs decided. This is the format. This is the spiciness. This is the experimentation happening over here in NA. And I'm still excited for it. I still think Team First Blood can pull this off. I still think the heat is on for New Wave. So we are seeing finally a slight change in the bans of New Wave here. Thamu's being taken off. Team First Blood keeping it pretty similar to what we saw in the past 3 games with Valentina up front.
You know what's funny is I said this before in previous tournaments. I said Famous is such a high priority pick that you might as well just ban him out. Right, just take Thamus out of the picture, force another pick, whether that's, like I said, we see him a lot in the jungle even, so either take that out of the jungle, take it out of the XP lane, and open some things up for yourself. So, with that being taken out of the picture, and if Beatrix is also not contested or for some reason banned out, then this could lead to a very different, game for the best of 1, basically. Essentially the 4th match here between, these teams. And that could be very well what Team First Blood wants to do, or maybe even New Wave. Like, let's just take out those big picks. There's the Esmeralda going out here, and then we'll go back to our comfort. We'll allow them to get 1 priority pick, while we get to take 2, and then sets us up for just, winning it all, basically. So there's the 1-1 ban. We'll see what New Wave's last ban is going to be here.
Now, I think what would be spicy here is ban out the Beatrix. Because we talked about Jappa being the issue, right? In the very beginning of tonight, we said Jappa's gold lane needs to be a focus, right? But the real thing, I think, is New Wave needs to focus on Gina God mode here. Because whether Gina has played the Wan, whether Gina has played the Beatrix, Gina God mode has shined. So I think at this point, maybe New Wave, I'm wondering if the Esmeralda was really worth it. Has it really been worth it this whole time? Maybe it's time to focus hard into Gina's hero pool. They decide to go for the Pheromones instead. So we'll see. I'm guessing the Beatrix, maybe the upfront Claude also open. Gina may completely change everything we've seen in the past 3 games for this best of 1.
I want to see if they actually lock this in, right? Because there's still a lot of great options here. You know, you could even, depending on what you want to do, but as the painted story has been for both these teams, the gold lane, right? And it is, there it is. That's the confirmation, right? They lock in that Claude here. So very comfortable pick. You lock in that gold lane, you set yourself up for the best case scenario. Now, New Wave, you know, with a lot left open here, what do you want to take, right? Do they decide to go ahead and maybe take the Balmond? Do they want to take the Akai? You know, because the Thamus and, you know, Beatrix is still open too, if they really wanted to go that route. There's a lot here at the pretty much the choice for New Wave.
Definitely a lot of opportunities, and they are being patient. I mean, the Akai could be a solid pick. I think the Beatrix, you gotta get in here, right? Like, you need to, because that's been the hero that he shined on. Indo, Almond, you take that away, but you go. I mean, at this point, I guess you can still secure the Beatrix in your third pick if you want to. You've already got the Claude, but you definitely, I don't think, want to let that second draft phase come in, right? Like, you definitely don't want to let the Beatrix and then possibly another marksman get banned out, because that has been the tale over these past games, right? The gold lanes have carried. We can't emphasize it enough. Prophecy also switching it up here, possibly. We're seeing this Hilda get hovered over. Team First Blood maybe changing a lot from what we've been seeing from them over the past 3 games.
Yeah. If they, so with the Hilda, if this is going to be locked in, okay, there's the Akai, right? I was going to say, when they locked in this Akai, I don't see the Hilda being picked here. I think this is a better choice, the Sicilian, because not only do you allow yourself, okay, they go with the Farsa. I was going to say you get that late game infinite scaling, but they're going to lock in the Farsa here, which, you know, to be honest, Farsa is slowly coming back into the scene. I mean, I know it's popped up here quite a bit in NACT, but even, you know, typically what we see in Southeast Asia and stuff, Farsa kind of fell off a little bit, and then she's kind of coming back into just everything else here. And a lot of that, once again, is that pure damage power from the Feathered Airstrike, right? You really get that damage potential, somewhat of a zoning in itself, in its own right, too, kind of like an Eve, right? And that's why we saw so many matches before Eve versus Farsa. Now it's kind of changed, right? So good solid choices here from Team First Blood. I want to see again what they decide to take in the XP lane, because surprisingly, most likely the Akai could possibly end up in the jungle, could possibly end up in the side lane. We've seen that. That's not, you know, that's not crazy or anything, even though we don't see it that much. But I gotta say, man, Team First Blood off to a good start here. New Wave, having the Lilia, having the Ballman, the Franco, they've got a lot of options themselves. They got their own, you know, meatballs started, and let's see how the rest of this banning goes out.
Yeah, I want to bring it back to that Farsa for a second. You know, I think there's no real, I mean, Farsa only really fell off, right? Because other mages became good. You got the Xavier, you got the Eve, you had some other options. Farsa never really got a big nerf or anything. Farsa really never. So I think with the aggression that we've been seeing from Team First Blood and the mobility you get in the early game from that Farsa, it could pair very well with their strategy. It could help them secure an early game gold gank. You know, it could help them secure some early game aggression into these off lanes. You hit that wings by wings, and we already know Prophecy is wonderful with his positioning. We saw it from the diversions. We saw it from plenty of his playing throughout the night, so we know that shouldn't be an issue. So all he needs to do is kind of stay away from Tamal, stay out of that hook range, stay away from Indo. But at this point, by picking up that Franco, which is a good pick, they've given Jappa a bit of a hard time here. We were worried about the Beatrix getting banned out, and there it is, followed up by the Aerithil. So now Jappa is going to be forcing either into this Natan or this Popo once again, something that I mean, we haven't seen them win any games tonight, so I guess, but overall, I would say the Natan played a little better than the Popo did, right?
Yeah, and okay, I was gonna say, don't you guys love Bruno? So there it is.
We don't talk about Bruno.
So, you know, if our good friend Mirko was here, he'd probably be shouting "Sue!" or something of that nature. So the Bruno is locked in here for the last game of NACT, and I gotta say, it's funny because I've really been interested to see more of Bruno, because in a lane matchup 1 versus 1, he would typically win those matchups, right? Just because of that pure raw damage. But then again, you know, when you pretty much have you have the slide, and you literally have either flicker or sprint. We've seen both on Bruno, actually. And, how do you use that against already what is the raw damage coming out from Team First Blood, right? Which is Claude, if he decides to displace here with the Blazing Duet, you have to kind of work around that. So, and there's already tons of tanks here that you have to deal with if you're New Wave. And there you go. The Aulus and this Lolita, man, that's pretty spicy in itself for Team First Blood.
Yeah, and this last game is just throwing me for a loop right now. Team First Blood has really stuck to a specific group of pickings throughout these past 3 games. They haven't veered too off. When something else is open, they go to this, they go to that. But this time, they are getting, as you like to say, spicy. And a lot is on the line here. So my question is, could this Aulus pick, could this Farza pick, could some of these things that we have not seen at all the whole night be the deciding factor here? Definitely changing things up, or are they just going to show, is this the final rub in the face? Like, listen, we're going to play something completely different in this last game, show something completely different, and still dominate with it. They do have some early game aggression. They do have some late game aggression, but this is it. Team First Blood up against New Wave. As you said nicely, the final game of the North American Challengers Tournament.
Man, Team First Blood, after sweeping that best of 5, they definitely want to just take this all the way. I mean, I know they're riding on momentum here, right? And that's the big thing. New Wave is going to be working from just behind the entire night for you guys, right? In NA, and that's the thing, right? They have to be very careful with this game as everything is on the line here. Ooh. And there's already the hook coming out from Gina.
They're going to need, Tamal, I know he hasn't played the greatest, but they're going to need to be careful with these hooks. I've seen him land them. I've seen him do the deal, and we haven't seen him playing Franco all night, but this could be the game that makes a difference.
And notice too, Trex, right? We've got both teams rolling with the jungle emblems this time around, right? And we haven't seen, honestly, all around the regions, we haven't seen Aulus pop up as much. I know he did, for a time, but he still has great clearing, potentially has great damage, and if he can just farm up on those objectives, it's going to be nice. But, once again, top lane going to be the focus here.
Yeah, and they are possibly coming in. New Wave. Prophecy does rotate up with that Wings by Wings. Going to give a little bit of a aerial support to the side of Team First Blood here, but keep an eye on Indo here, hanging out in this tri-bush. Decides to disengage. Team First Blood now holding the turtle pit, but New Wave is on their way.
Yeah, and so, again, this is the thing, right? You have to be very careful if you are Team First Blood in approaching these objectives. You might even want to just give some of them away. As I said, we could possibly see the Sakai in the side lane, which he went, right? And now, how do you utilize your heavy spin, right? How do you find those right angles against this team of New Wave that it is actually very difficult to find those angles on? I mean, unless you find Tamal, right? You find Tamal, you might be able to get, he might be easy to get, maybe Indo. But that's, again, we're going to see the struggle here of this Akai, and they're just going to give this turtle away. They don't need to really contest this. It's still pretty difficult to contest against a Ballman anyway, but the focus here in the top lane.
The airstrike does come down. Jappa will go down. First Blood going once again to Team First Blood, and that's a good sacrifice. You give up the turtle, but you get a nice gank in the lane that we've been saying matters so much. Now, I'm wondering, Dogtor picks up this Yuzong, right, to deal with the Farza. We have Tamal to also deal with the Farza, but maybe it's a little bit too much when the real problem, as we creep into the very late game, could be this Claude, could be this Aulus, who, yes, like you said, we haven't seen played a lot, but the damage still will be there. It's going to take a while. It's going to wait until that passive really kicks in. I think it's level 12 that the final evolution of his hammer axe kicks off. So it's going to be a bit till we see him really be engaged in this. But if Prophecy can get his position right, there's still some heavy burst damage from 3 major members, Prophecy, Gina, and Aulus. If we get to that late game, Team First Blood definitely has the insurance for it.
Tomal looking for the Flicker Bloody Hunt combo there. Not going to happen, though. Prophecy literally prophesizing that one out is able to escape. So, that's the thing, right? Anytime there's a Franco on the board, oh, they're already in the top lane, though.
And he does get a hook right on to Joybaj, but Tamal, I guess, ends up going down in the top lane. Gina able to make a blazing duet play. The ult is gone. Joybaj now getting chased down from Jappa. Gina trying to support him, uses that mirror image to get away there. But once again, Indo holding down this tri-bush, but Prophecy with the aerial support, using that Wings by Wings to rotate up to that gold lane every single time.
So, going back to the point of the Franco, right? Like, you can miss every hook in the game until you land that one hook that counts. And that can, and the thing is, that can go both ways. When I say the hook that counts, either you win the game with that hook or you lose the game, because we've seen hooks before where they hook the wrong target and it ends up to be a game-losing hook. So you got to be careful if you're Tamal. And I mean, that's something that Tamal has kind of struggled with for the entire series, but now Turtle.
Yeah, and Dogtor with that Black Dragon. Gina does focus in, able to get New Wave away from the Turtle. Dogtor still in black form, does land down on top of God Mode. God Mode shut down. Joybosh gets a kill onto Tamal though, but Indo is on a rampage. Luffy forced to back off, forced to run away. New Wave keeping presence over this map, finally gaining a little bit of ground here.
So, like, you know, Ziggy finished the Turtle there. It was a 1-for-1, but Gina Godmode was the one that went down. And meanwhile, they're still focusing here on this top lane, right? The gold lane. Joppa the entire time was just able to pretty much farm up, get this extra gold off the turret. They're going to most likely get this turret as well. And so Joppa just got a ton of gold there. And as you can see, they're about a 1k in lead now, right? So that is exactly what Joppa needed here to have a better time on this Bruno. He did just pick up that Berserker's Fury too, so that's going to be a nice pickup for him. But still, if you're talking about both gold lane matchups or gold lane players for the teams, it's a different thing, right? Gina God's mode idea or game plan here is very different from Joppa's. Gina God mode just needs to go in, pop the Blazing Duet, and get out, and let the rest of the team, you know, clean up from there the best he can. Whereas Joppa is really going to be looking for positioning, trying to get those empowered just hits off, and now at the bottom, what's again going to be the focus.
Blazing Duet does come in. Ziggy forced to use those black shoes. The suppression does come on. The Bloody Hunt onto Joybosh. Joybosh with that bulwark shield, able to keep them at bay. The hook misses from Tamal. Here comes the Numan on blast. Does not secure the stun onto Ziggy. Indo now here to help back up once again. Always a little bit late to the party though, Indo. That'll make a big play, but Luffy with the heavy spin landing on Indo and Ziggy here. Kid trying to find the moment. Does not land the ult, but Ziggy maybe getting taken out here. Brought very low, does not have the back shoes, but the rest of the team is here. Dogtor with the Black Dragon, able to rotate down and help bring that fight into the hands of New Wave. Indo continuing to be aggressive here. Joybosh needs to back off, but New Wave is starting to take more and more presence over the map.
This is the thing that kind of concerning about Team First Blood's composition, because when you use that Blazing Duet and it's gone, where is your damage, right? When you use the Feathered Airstrike and it's gone, where is the damage? And so I feel like that's the struggle here, but now in the mid lane, I mean, already forcing Joybosh here, Gina God mode.
Yeah, trying to come in with the Blazing Duet does bring Dogtor quite low, able to flicker back and keep them at bay. I was a little worried about Joybosh there. He needs to find those angles on that Numan on blast a little bit better, because Tamal is just ready to lock down onto him.
And going back to the, you know, where's the damage when those ultimates are out here from Team First Blood? Yes, at some point, you know, Kid will have that damage with Ollis, right? He's getting closer there by the minute, but the thing is, you know, you have to be able to get in range of that. And that's one of the things here about New Wave's composition is they have a lot of good disengagement tools. Even Dogtor, if he decides to kind of sacrifice himself for the team, that could work out in his favor. I mean, look, the focus here in the bottom lane, and he's just going to Black Dragon form and totally negate that setup from Team First Blood, right? So these are the things, the obstacles that Team First Blood has to work around.
Yeah, they're going to need to find a way to either bait out some of these skills, but it's a lot of skills. The Black Dragon, the Bloody Hunt. There's so many things that they need to work around in these team fights. It may be just a little bit too much. Another tower now falling into the hands of New Wave here. New Wave for the first time in 4 games, having the upper hand in the early start.
See, you see those attacks coming out from Joppa. He doesn't have any kills. He doesn't really have anything fancy. He's just kicking people in the head with the soccer ball, right? Like they literally
the hard soccer ball.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? It's just so much damage to output here, and we saw Kid just taking the brunt of that damage. I mean, again, even Luffy and Joybodge, the two pretty much frontline tanks of the team, take quite a bit of damage already from New Wave. As we see them continuously building on that gold lead here, but they find a huge hook.
Oh, that is a bad hook at that Luffy getting picked off. That could be one of the hooks that matters, right? That could be, they've now secured the Lord Pit for Lord 1. They're not even going to wait for the enhanced Lord. They know they're on a roll right now, so they're going to take down this Lord and keep up the pressure. Kind of what Team First Blood has been doing to them in the past 3 games.
Yeah, that's tough again, because in this game specifically, right, you feel like Team First Blood didn't really get the draft maybe that they wanted, or maybe they went with something that they were confident with. But unfortunately for now, Gina Godmode hasn't really been able to do what needs to be done. But the one great thing here is there's great clear potential from Team First Blood. If they really want to drag this game out to the point where, you know, they are able to equalize themselves in itemization, it could work really well. But also the focus here on Tamal.
Yeah, and there's that feather airstrike. The damage is there, but Ziggy comes into the back, tries to push Prophecy back, but maybe a bit too much. The hook does land on them, and on Blast with the flicker does come down. Now Tamal will be taken off the map along with Luffy, but Indo is now here to help out. Kid trying to do a bit of damage. We're finally seeing him able to hold that front line. If Joybaj can do another one of those Human on Blast, they may be able to turn this game around. But Lord now creeping down in the top lane. Kid should be able to make quick work of it if New Wave does not decide, and they are not going to move up to that top lane. They're going to take a tower in the bottom, take a tower in the mid, and just control the map. They've now taken everything but the inhibitors and are still holding strong with all 9 towers.
Man, tough situation once again to be for Team First Blood, right? They have to continuously work from this deficit at this point. Like you said, Kid, he starts to have some of this damage, but still it's really hard for him to actually find the angles that he needs to get in range to attack someone. I mean, who do you attack, right? If you focus on Ziggy and Joppa, who you need to really get down here, they both have good escape potential. I mean, Joppa alone is just very well protected, because what we see from Tamal is a defensive use of the Bloody Hunt and an offensive use, right? He's really doing a great job on this Franco right now. And meanwhile, the same can be said for Dogtor, right? He's using that Black Dragon form in both ways that are really benefiting the team here. Now, Gina Godmode does have the 2 crucial items on Claude, right? And as you kind of progress from there, you will be able to output some of that damage that you need. But we can see the Blazing Duet time after time, clearing the minions, right? Trying to get as much gold as possible, because we're still talking about a 6 to 7k gold deficit here, right? And they are going to be working as a team to find picks. This is big for them. This is exactly what Team First Blood has to do here.
Yeah, and they are starting to even things out. And I think, yeah, you just need to stay together, stay as a unit. You send Luffy over to the side, but I don't know. He's going to be a major role in some of these fights. Tamal, though, is giving the distance. The fear of that hook. Black Shoes comes out. Ziggy disengages. In New Wave this time, not being too aggressive. They're not going to make those early dive mistakes. Luffy is coming in from the top. The hook does land on, but Luffy in the background, able to slow down Jappa. The Numenon Blast comes in. Tamal taken out. It's a 1 for 2 as we speak. Jappa maybe next. Gina Godmode picks up the kill along with Prophecy securing one. It's looking good for Team First Blood right now. Prophecy and Gina Godmode staying up. Look at Indo. Blazing Duet does come out. Indo tries to catch Godmode off temper, but he does not use that mirror image, so he's able to escape. But now Dogtor on the chase. Black Dragon is out. Gina Godmode maybe getting a little bit too much damage, able to sidestep Prophecy. Also here once again to help Gina Godmode out. Lord back up. Team First Blood back on their feet at only a 3 or 4k deficit. Should be able to possibly fight for this. Gina starting on this Lord, making quick work of it. Will New Wave contest this? They do have the numbers game. They can take this if they want, but Team First Blood does not want to give it up. Kid has moved in. Tamal does not steal it. Kid gets it. The feathered airstrike comes down and puts big damage on it. Tamal, he's forced to flicker away, and now they are coming in. New Wave doesn't want to give that Lord up for free. Luffy in a bad spot, able to dash away. Indo with the lethal counter, though, able to take it. And next will be Kid. That is 2 down for the price of a Lord. Joybaj could be next. Tamal does have that hook, able to land down. Joybaj struck out. Jappa picks up the kill, and the Lord is melted. It's now 2 up against 5, and New Wave may try to finish this right here.
Oh, they're going to try to do their best to defend. They have great clear here, though. But can they actually clear?
I don't know if that airstrike comes down, but Jappa under the tower flickers in, brings Prophecy down about half health, but Blazing Duet is here. The Numenon Blast, or no, not the Numenon Blast, but the counter cannot finish it. New Wave forced to back off, but I like the aggression. I like that they're keeping it up. Team First Blood almost secures a big win on their side by taking that Lord and getting some pushback, but they're just not quite able to disengage.
So, I mean, in a way, the last 2 minutes or so that happened here was crucial for Team First Blood, right? They're able to get a little bit more gold on their side. They are still at a deficit, you know, a little bit here, 3-4K gold, but big item pickups, especially for Gina God mode. Locking in this Wind of Nature will really help, you know, set up those blazing duets a little bit better here. And as we can see, where there's already a ton of damage coming out from Prophecy, right? But once again, I think it still depends on Luffy and as well as Joybotch to find those setups. That's what started this whole kind of swing for things, is Luffy's decisions and his placements. I mean, he is looking for angles himself to really come from the back lines, set the team up for victory here. And they could be looking for another play even on the top side here, right? They do need to also get that tier 1 turret down, but here we go.
Steal comes in. Ziggy brought down to about half health. Luffy with the heavy spin. Black Shoes brings her right back into the middle, but the Winter Truncheon is here. Bursted down from God mode. Tamal will be next, able to flicker out with just a sliver of health. Now they're moving on to Indo. Indo taking down. Immortality pops, but it probably won't be enough. Gina God mode gets the shutdown. Team First Blood now chasing down Tamal. He will be next. 3 members down for the price of Prophecy. And oh, what a Prophecy. Team First Blood is starting to turn this game around.
What a huge turnaround, Trex, because just that mistake alone from New Wave getting caught out there, Ziggy getting cut off, and now it's Team First Blood assaulting the base of New Wave.
Yeah, Doctor does get that Petrify off, but the Immortality helps Luffy survive another minute in this game. Gina God mode trying to put some work into that top inhibitor tower. Ziggy and Doctor are here, but it feels like the playing field has been evened. Team First Blood, 14 seconds on the Lord. Can they take this championship?
Man, everybody has to reset. You know, everybody has to reset from this point. The next Lord's going to be up here. And it's a tough situation, right? It's a tough situation for both teams because New Wave, they were controlling so much of that early game here. I mean, this is the replay we were talking about. Ziggy got completely cut off, even used the Winter Truncheon, right? Tamal eventually goes down himself, but just look at Gina God mode's damage at this point.
Ooh,
and
that's on the live.
Now the Lord
does come in. It looks like for a second I thought the conceal play was about to be big, but it seems like TFB just wants to jock back for position on his Lord. Movement on Blast does come down, lands onto Ziggy. Prophecy does not have that feather airstrike in just yet, but Luffy with a big heavy spin, Jappa pinned, Indo pinned. This could be it. Kid keeping up the aggression. He's finally hit that power spike. Luffy in the back line, Dogport trying to come in, gets the Petrify and takes Prophecy out, but the Lord is into the hands of Team First Blood. They're making quick work. New Wave trying to come in, but Kid secures the Lord. Finally, the second Lord for Team First Blood, but this time they will have the ability to push with it.
The tables have turned, right? Now it's Team First Blood in the driver's seat for this march in, and also look at the items, right? A nice defensive pickup here from Gina God mode, the Athena shield, because the damage coming out from Ziggy needs to be respected, right? Doesn't want to get blown up here. And at the same time, you can already see Kid is online. The guy's got massive damage items available to him. Luffy also picking up an Athena shield. That's going to help him a little bit longer. Looking for some type of pick once again with the pin down, the heavy spin. They've just got to be careful because look at the setup here from Tamal waiting in that bush. Going to get actually taken out here just fine. Not going to be able to set up from there. So now it's New Wave. New Wave has to defend their base here as Team First Blood is getting ready for that assault.
Yeah, we were worried about the late game for Team First Blood, and they are now here. Luffy does come in. Tries to use the heavy spin, not quite able to land it. Prophecy also uses up the utility of that Feathered Airstrike. Indo and Ziggy working on this Lord, but he does take the inhibitor. Now the Numen on Blast trying to cock up, but the hook connects, and down goes Joybotch. He does get pulled in, still up, but the Petrify lands down. Luffy will fall. The Lord falls along with it. God mode trying to do something here, but just not enough damage. Jappa comes into the back line, gets a nice snipe shot onto Joybotch, but the Immortality is there to help keep him alive. Team First Blood now on the rebounds, trying to back off. You've taken an inhibitor. It's time to escape with your lives, but Doctor does not want to let that happen. Jappa coming around the top, able to take that camp, but Indo is hungry, chasing down God mode. He does have a mirror image to try to escape this. Doctor forced to go back to base because they may lose another inhibitor here if they do not defend.
Well, what a best of one we have here, Trex. I mean, both teams neck and neck here in terms of gold items at this point. We're at the 18-minute mark. I mean, New Wave has one inhibitor turret down, but you gotta say, for the best of one, this is the best case scenario between two teams just duking it out. The next Lord comes up in about 45 seconds here. they got to be careful that no one gets picked off because, like I said, Tamal is still a threat. One hook could change the game. They got to be careful. Team First Blood continuously just sticking together, right? They want to be together as much as possible here and set up for this next Lord. Because the one advantage is, yes, New Wave does have that top turret down, right? 2 turrets are pretty low, but here we go.
Bloody Hunt does come in, but the Fed Airstrike helps push everyone back. Newman on blast, does land onto them all, but this could be bad for Joppa. The Blazing Duet comes in. Joppa in between all kid gets the kill. Dogtor now trying to engage, but I don't think you want to try to take this back off. Ziggy does not have those black shoes in God mode, knows it. Dogtor does get the petrify, but Gina's too strong. Kid picks up the kill. The rookie kid of the year right now, able to play it. Now Lord should fall into the hands of Team First Blood easily, and I don't know if New Wave wants to contest. The problem is I don't know if New Wave can defend this. They're down to a sliver of health on 2 inhibitors. This could be the game.
Well, they have Joppa coming up in about 20 seconds, so it's going to depend. Does Team First Blood push it in, or do they wait for the Lord here? Because they're already going in, Trex.
They are coming. The Feathered Airstrike comes down. Big damage onto Indo. The Lord is still out. Maybe over aggressive. The Bloody Hunt comes in. Luffy able to dash away. The Newman on blast keeps them at bay. And now the middle inhibitor, the bottom inhibitor, 10% health. A Lord coming down the top. 1 wave down the mid. They're not going to be able to sync up that bottom, but I don't think Team First Blood cares. Prophecy does not have the Feathered Airstrike, so it's going to be a bit of a problem as they try to push this. Joy Budge also down the Newman on blast. They don't have the utilities, and New Wave is ready. Finally, the Feathered Airstrike does come in. Tamal gets the hook onto Prophecy, though, able to stop that push a little bit earlier. Lord still on half health. Can New Wave defend this? They take out the Lord, but in comes Newman on blast with the Blazing Duet. Dogtor brought down to nothing. Indoor down to 10%. The inhibitor finally breaks. The members of Team First Blood are going down. Joppa picking up a double, possibly a triple. The winner Truncheon is just not enough. It's only Luffy and New Wave may be able to reverse sweep this game. 3 inhibitors left. Can New Wave finish this here?
Oh my goodness. What a disaster for Team First Blood. They weren't able to get Joppa at all. Look at the replay here. It's left for Luffy to defend, but look at Joppa just coming back from that fountain and just unleashing here. And now Luffy trying to buy some time, all that he can, but it might not be enough.
What a finish. This is it. A wave of minions coming in, but 15 seconds is just too much. Gina God Mode will not be back on the map. New Wave takes this. They're going to take this game. They're going to take this championship. New Wave takes the whole thing.
Man.
Victory!
Man, oh man. That is... Whew. If you're a Team First Blood fan, man, that is tough because they had it. They were there. But unfortunately, they weren't able to finish the game there. Again, that was a best of 1. I mean, coming from that, just the momentum that they had here, evening out the game. And what a tough finish here. But New Wave just punishing them once again with this Joppa pick. The Bruno, man. Coming back from the fountain, they couldn't get the Bruno down. And very, very tough situation.
Yeah, very tough situation. And I know right now everyone is going nuts about this. This is a big turnaround. New Wave. They lose the best of 5, right? They come back, they take this game. And of course, New Wave, they earn their spot in this position. If Team First Blood got to this position, they in the upper bracket, they would have the same possibilities for themselves. New Wave, though, stood strong in the top bracket and had this redemption chance. They take the game. They take the tournament. Team First Blood, though, man, Team First Blood, I got to give it up to them. Definitely the monsters, definitely the people that came in very strong and showed that they belong here as North American challengers.
Yeah, and because this is the ending result here for NACT. I mean, this is already just brings to life a rivalry between these two because now the fan bases of both teams are going to be heated up, right? They're going to be heated up for the future matches of these. And, that's the thing, right? Team First Blood, I mean, the whole performance that they had in just today's games were amazing. Even this one, it's just unfortunately for them, they couldn't really just end the game. And we see that a lot of the times, not just in NACT, but across, all the even MPL regions, we see that kind of struggle with teams that surely are in the base. They have the opportunity, but unfortunately they can't finish it out. And that's kind of what we saw here this time around. Still a very great game here for this best of one.
Yeah, and that is it. Now, we do have some members of New Wave joining in here. We're going to have a quick after-tournament interview. Definitely excited to see how New Wave feel about this. They've taken it all. Who do we got with us right now?
Looks like we got
I'm Ziggy.
Ziggy and Japa.
All right, Ziggy
Japa
and
is
Japa.
coming.
Ziggy, you played some good games. Japa as well. In the end, able to make that play with Bruno come in. I mean, during the push, Team First Blood just bites off a little bit too much, pushes a little bit early before the Lord connects, and you guys are able to make it happen. How do you feel right now?
It's kind of strange, I think. Like, we choke in the finals in the BO5, but we know that if they make one mistake, we can get it all in the BO1. So we just try to get calm as we can, because we were 3-0. Like, we really try to keep calm and go for this game, and yeah, but, we win this one because that play of Japa and me, and I feel like happy but not enough because we lose the BO5. That's for my part. I don't know what Japa thinks.
All right, nice. Any questions from you? I want to, I feel like you're the outside person. I'm wondering, taking all this in, second NACT, what do you got for us?
It's so here's the thing. This is a very interesting thing because, the previous NACT, we had pretty much, it was a sweep, right? And this time around, Ziggy, you guys got 3-0'd in the best of 5. I really want to know too, I mean, what technically happened in game 1 and 2? Like the draft, did you guys struggle a little bit with drafting? What exactly happened in that best of 5? Why do you guys feel like you choked there?
Japa?
Well, at first we feel like we will feel very confident, but they learn their mistakes and practice on more heroes, and that's why they sweep us. We gave the Tamus 3 times, and that's basically what happened because the Tamus was willing all the lanes. He was still in jungle all the time, and that's basically it. But I don't know. I don't know how to feel right now.
Yeah, you guys feeling like like, do you feel like you can't celebrate the win, or I mean, is that how you're feeling right now?
Yeah, I don't feel good with this kind of win.
Me too. I feel like this is a wake-up call for us because we were very confident to win against First Blood and we got sweep. So it's really a wake-up call for us, and we have to work harder and yeah, we have to keep working and don't underestimate the other teams.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think we have all I think we're all a little confused with the way things went down and everything. But at the same time, I mean, I think both of you guys earned your spot here. I think both teams have made it. New Wave, you guys have done a great job in previous tournaments. You guys have come in and you made it all the way to the finals in the top bracket. And I don't want to take anything away from you guys. I think you guys should be happy for your win. I think NACT as a general, NA as a general, we should all be lifting each other up, right?
Yeah.
So I'm definitely, I think both of you guys made it here, and that's the major thing, right? And we watched some good games tonight. We watched some close games, and I'm definitely excited about the future. Anything from you guys? Any words to the fans? Any words to TFB? Any words to anyone at all?
Me first, then Japa. So yeah. For me, a big shout out to Team First Blood. They did very, very good. They were better than us today. So big shout out and keep working. You are improve a lot. And for the fans, like, thank you for supporting us. I know you all expect more for us, but at least we win. I think we deserve it because we won the winner bracket. And I have to say something to my family. Like, I'm gonna say this in Spanish. Can I?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Keep it clean.
Un saludo para mi mamá. Te amo mucho. Muchas gracias a toda mi familia por verme jugar y a mi novia también. Te amo mucho y ya a los seguidores en español. Muchas gracias por vernos y lo haremos mejor la próxima vez. That is, bro. Thank you.
So, future of New Wave. Where are we going from here? I've been following you guys for a while. We have Liga Latam. You're competing in NACT. You're competing in several other tournaments. What's the next step? Are we aiming for M4? What are the plans?
Yeah, we're aiming for just staying tuned for what we have right now. But we're gonna keep practicing and keep getting better at a time, and probably get a little revenge. I don't know, maybe. But yeah, we're just gonna keep working on our game or macro. But yeah.
Any last things from you, Naisu?
I was gonna say, I think this pretty much just started a rivalry between these two teams and their and their fans. So I can't wait. Honestly, I agree with Trex. I think you guys should really celebrate your entire run through the tournament. I know this might be confusing for a lot of people out there, but still, you can't discredit your guys' performance from the previous weeks, right? You definitely deserve to be here, and I can't wait to honestly watch the rematch. Hopefully in the next NACT.
Yes, most definitely. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. We do appreciate it. Ziggy, Jappa, it's always a pleasure watching you guys play. And hopefully we see you guys in the NACT fall in future events. I can't wait for it. Hopefully we see you guys go up against Team First Blood.
Yeah, Rex, can I say something for my friends?
Real quick, yeah.
All right. I just want to say thanks for all the support to our fans. Thanks for all my family that are supporting me, and for my girlfriend, Anna. Quiero mucho, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Have a wonderful night, guys.
See you
Congratulations.
Later. Thank you.
All right, so that is it, everyone. It was definitely a fun night. It was a pleasure casting with you, Naisu. Second time, and I can't wait to do it again. Hopefully, we cast some more in the future, and hopefully we see some of you guys in this NACT fall season. Definitely excited for it. Definitely excited to see how these teams grow and how we move forward. Any last words from you, Naisu, to all the viewers, to NA?
First and foremost, thanks for having me, inviting me here to cast with you again. And it's always a pleasure to watch what happens here in NACT. And I know NACT, it's grown a lot since the last time I casted it, right? And it's going to continue to grow. And I think, there's adjustments, right? There's adjustments that are going on with NACT tournament. And I think it'll only get better from here. I think they'll take this feedback and everything that's going on right now, and we'll learn from it and improve the tournament every single season. But again, thank you for having me, and a shout out to all the people viewing out there. I know there's a lot of Filipino viewers too that wake up early to watch NACT. Big shout out to everybody supporting it, and again, shout out to Assassin Dave, Moonton, of course, the teams, Trex, all the casters. It's been a pleasure to watch you guys as well.
Most definitely. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and it was a pleasure to cast. It's always a pleasure to cast on the grand finals of tournaments like these. So until next time, let's give it back to the host, Assassin Dave. Hopefully next time we see you guys in the draft.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, big congrats to the incredible one and only Team New Wave for winning it all. And I see quite a bit of people in the chat asking a question about the tournament format. So I'm here to give everybody a quick explanation on the entire structure. Now, first of all, I want to say big congrats to Team New Wave for winning the whole thing, for taking the Summer Season Championship. And make sure to follow our incredible casters for bringing this match. Obviously, the results are a little bit surprising to a lot of people, but after you understand how double elimination works, the traditional double elimination works, you understand how the tournament structure is laid out. The entire structure is laid out to every single team who participated, the 4 teams in the final stage when they were in, before they were in. So the entire rule is totally fair and square for everyone who participated. And double elimination to ensure total fairness, to give every team 2 chances to win it all. So you can see it in the semifinals. Team First Blood was going against Team New Wave, and Team New Wave actually already won. If this was a single elimination best of 3 or best of 5 tournament, at this point, Team First Blood would already have been eliminated. They wouldn't even have this grand final today. But because we have double elimination, Team First Blood was granted a second chance. It's only fair in our tournament setup to give New Wave a second chance if they so lose the first round of series against Team New Wave. So that's how, against Team First Blood, that's how we set up the entire tournament. But obviously, to ensure the players are not playing a lot of matches to play out of their mind, we decided that it's a good idea to have the second series of the flip matches to be best of 1. The best of 1, the one match take all, is just to give New Wave a second chance if it comes to that point. So it's basically a traditional double elimination tournament format. But the entire structure was totally fair to every single player who participated, every single team who participated, and teams knew the format coming into the tournament. If you think about this coming as a best of 3, even when you make the second series best of 3, it's still the same thing. It's just instead of best of 3, we have best of 1. So hope everybody understand the rules. I gotta say, Team New Wave, when they come in, nobody want to win in this way. Obviously, if I was New Wave, I would have come in, I would want to win in a 3-0 dominated fashion, and that's not what happened. Team First Blood was prepared. They were a really, really fierce opponent. Even in the semifinals, it was not a 2-0 clean sweep for New Wave. It was first game winning First Blood, and then New Wave came back with a reverse sweep. So this 2 opponents is really, really strong to show you North America region is powerhouse, and really, you should look out for North America going into M4 coming up this year. So ladies and gentlemen, again, big congrats to New Wave for winning that entire tournament. And we are going to make another announcement afterwards to fully explain the tournament structure. It's totally my fault. It's totally my fault to not make a tournament structure announcement to all the viewers before the tournament happened. But I want to ensure every single player, the players already knew the structure before they came to the tournament, when they signed up for the tournament. So the tournament is laid out in a complete fair fashion for all the players who participated. So with that being said, that would wrap it up for us today right here for the NACT Summer. I hope all had fun watching those incredible series of matches. Every single player, every single team participated, all fought their heart out. But New Wave came out on top as #1 in NACT Summer season. Again, I want to let everybody know, NACT Summer is just the beginning for all North America region esports. We have more tournaments coming up, so this is your chance to like, subscribe, and turn that notification bell on to all notification bells. This way, you get the buzz every time we go live right here for future tournaments. We got a lot more series to feature your favorite teams in North America, a team that you support, a player you support. A lot more chances for them to show up, to show to the entire world what North America is all about. With that being said, that's going to be it for us. Make sure to follow our casters, Naisu as well as Trek Senpai, for the incredible performance they brought onto the stage today. Have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful day. Doesn't matter where you are around the world. We'll see you guys after NACT returns in the next season. Stay tuned.